San Francisco light, the New York Mets face a daunting and giant challenge, desperate to return to Gotham with the slate even. One day ago, Met lefty Mike Hampton faced one of the greatest players in the game today. And for Barry Bonds, what's past is past. He plans to make the future last. And then soon after,
Burks hits one high. He hits it deep down the line. Off the ball, out of here.
the Mets were left reeling in this seaside scuffle. Now, tonight, in the city by the bay, can King of Swing Mike Piazza find his power within? Will Giant Might again make this city burn bright? The Mets and the Giants are set for Game 2. But the question remains, are you? Next, it's the power of postseason baseball on the one and only Fox Sports. The Autotrader.com pregame show is brought to you by Autotrader.com, the biggest, best used car site on the planet.
Twice San Francisco has hosted a World Series. The first coincided with the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, the second with the Loma Prieta earthquake of 1989. If a third occurs, it will coincide with the first series appearance of 14-year Major League veteran Ellis Burks. From the home of the next 7 World Series, welcome to the vice presidential debate. No, it's Game 2 of the National League Division Series in the Autotrader.com pregame show with Tom Brenneman and Bob Brenly standing by in San Francisco and alongside Steve Lyons. I'm Keith Olbermann. And nothing gets the monkey off the back of a seemingly jinxed superstar faster than a lucky break, as Barry Bonds or Steve Lyons could tell you.
And, of course, you're referring to that 2-strike pitch to Bonds before he got the triple. But I got to tell you, to everybody out there, including you, Keith,
yes,
for getting on Bonds about his postseason experiences, get off the guy's back. Here's a huge hit for Bonds. There's the pitch that missed. A lot of people complaining about that pitch, thought it should have been strike 3. But guess what? Jeff Kellogg, the home plate umpire, didn't throw that next pitch. Bonds laces it for a triple. Later on in that inning, Ellis Burks hits a huge 3-run home run. Kellogg didn't throw that pitch as well. A lot of Met fans out there complaining about the umpiring, and when you do that, you are a loser.
I will examine the Bonds search for anything but Dread Octobers in a moment, but there's a seeming contradiction here with the Giants. Counterbalancing that left-handed bat of Bonds, they're loaded with right-handed power. Jeff Kent, Ellis Burks especially. So why, when they beat the Mets southpaw Mike Hampton yesterday, did they just reach the 500 record against left-handed starters? How are they just 20-20 against southpaws?
Well, I think 2 reasons really is the big reason why they haven't been able to win so many games against lefties. Number 1, they don't always face lefties at home. When they play at home, they're unbelievable. They can win games. The other is Ellis Burks. He's been in and out of the lineup, and if you're looking for an MVP on that team, everybody points to Bonds or Jeff Kent, who had an unbelievable year. Ellis Burks had 24 home runs and 96 RBIs with less than 400 at-bats. He wasn't always playing. He's a huge help when he's in the lineup.
Cardinals had 400 at-bats this afternoon in the other division series.
Just one game.
It is an unpleasant but an amazing accomplishment to run off a long losing streak in the postseason, yet the Braves took the field in St. Louis today, having lost 7 of the last 8. The opener on Tuesday, all 4 World Series games last year, and 2 of the final 3 games of the NLCS last year. They turned to Tom Glavine, probably a Hall of Famer, facing Will Clark with Atlanta leading 2-0 in the first. Oops.
Nuschler.
Or as he's also known, the Phantom of the Opera. 5 homers against the Braves this year, and there goes the lead. It's 3-2. It's 9-2 in the 8th. Rafael Furcal is the hitter, and Jim Edmonds makes out like Torrey Holt or Isaac Bruce.
Touchdown.
9-2 St. Louis, and then on the bottom of the 8th, 9-4, just to add injury to insult. Mark McGwire. And it took him 3 hours and 15 minutes to get around the bases, but it counts. 10-4. Braves are losing 0-2 and going home. Can the Braves come out? Can they do what the Red Sox did to the Indians last year, come back from 0-2?
It's going to be very difficult, but if you remember, in 1996, these same 2 teams, the Braves were down to the Cardinals 3-1 in the NLCS. They did come back, but of course they had Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz. It's a little bit different team. This is the most balanced team, the Braves, in this playoffs, with fielding, speed, pitching, and a strong lineup. But they got a tough thing going for them right now. I think Maddox, after only throwing 66 pitches in Game 1, will come back and throw Game 3.
Why not? The striking statistic coming out of this game is that the likely Hall of Famer Glavine is now an 11-11 pitcher in the postseason, just as the Cardinals made Maddox an 11-11 pitcher in the postseason on Tuesday. Weird stats abound when it comes to the game's greats and the playoffs and the World Series. The RBI machine, Frank Thomas, 0 for 7 this year for the White Sox. He's left 9 men on base. And now Luis Sojo has more career postseason RBI than Andres Galarraga. But no title time performer has done less with more than Barry Bonds. As of this moment, the O in his name stands for O for October. You do not have to remind Barry Bonds. MVP in 1990, hit 167 in playoffs, Pirates lose in 6. Drove in 116 runs in 1991. Drove in none in the playoffs. Pirates lose in 7. MVP again in 1992, actually homered in the playoffs. Pirates led Game 7, 2-zip, bottom 9. Pirates lose, leaves Pirates. MVP again in 1993, 46 homers, 123 RBI. Goes 3 for 19 in the season's final week. Giants lose the division by a game. So feared in 1997, he has walked intentionally 34 times. Gets 3 hits in the playoffs. Giants are swept. Carries Giants to a tie for the wild card in 98. One-game playoff with the Cubs, 0 for 4. Barry Bonds has played 2,143 regular season games. In them, he's driven in 1,405 runs. Count that 98 wild card playoff. He's played 25 postseason games. In them, he's driven in 7. This has not been his time of the year, though you'd be hard-pressed to note by looking at it. He's 36 years old now. It is 8 seasons since he left the 3 consecutive heartbreaks in Pittsburgh for more hopeful pastures out west. When he joins the other 18 left fielders already in the Hall of Fame, it'll be hard to rank him below any of them except Stan Musial and Ted Williams. The Ted Williams who got only 1 shot at the ring and could comfort himself slightly by recalling that he played the World Series of 1946 with an elbow swollen and painful from a hit by pitch. Barry Bonds has his 7th shot at the ring now and 7 RBI. Dusty Baker told me last week he would talk to Bonds about the likely media and fan focus on his postseason distress syndrome. He just didn't know what he'd say to him.
I tell you, with a guy that's that talented and that much personality, you just say, go be yourself. Now, the Mets, on the other hand, they're not sure what their personality is. You're not sure why you like this team. The Mets, like all of us, have a few issues. One bad sign is when your ace, who's previously unbeaten versus San Francisco, can't make it out of the 6th inning. The Mets are still having the same problems with the bat as last October. Yesterday, their leadoff hitter was Benny Agbayani, a good contact guy, but he's got 11 stolen bases in his career. Alfonso, Piazza, Ventura, 3, 4, and 5 in the order, 1 for 11. Now, Ventura's been scuffling all season long, and Alfonso can still mash, but we're still waiting for Mike Piazza to get into a fall groove. His Octobers have been chilly.
And it's frustrating, obviously. You know, we weren't really trying to get it all back with one swing, but we just couldn't seem to really get, you know, the flow going and get some guys, you know, moving them over and getting them in. You know, our just offense was stuck in neutral today.
All right, now for the good stuff. They still have Al Leiter going tonight with loads of postseason success, and against whom the Giants have batted just 195. Plus, Game 3 starter Rick Reed and Glendon Rush, another lefty, round out this very crafty starting staff. They don't have overpowering stuff, but they are tenacious. Another bright spot is the bullpen. 2 2/3 innings of scoreless relief in Game 1, a large intangible for the rest of the series. Now, the bottom line is the Mets can't wait like last year's NLCS Game 4 for their bats to wake up. If they do, there won't be a Game 4 this year, and they'll be teeing it up Sunday morning at a club near you. Now, you're never sure about the Mets and whether or not their offense will wake up, but you are sure of one thing, and to explain that, I have to quote the guy from Major League 2, Suzuki Tanaka, the outfielder, who says that team has big marbles. That's what they have, big marbles.
Marbles. And the other sense of that word, of course, is losing it, which might be losing your marbles if you have won the first game against a left-hander and then change your lineup for the second game and have a completely different lineup against the left-handed pitcher. Dusty Baker is seeing this one almost as a must-win, which is also fascinating because at home they're almost unbeatable. He said going into this new ballpark, it was kind of like moving into a new house. They found all the light switches. They led the majors in home victories, 56-26.
Yeah, and 56-20 after they lost their first 6 home games. This team is unbelievable at home. Name me a worse home ballpark crowd than they were at the Stick when they had to cheer for those Giants then. And then I'll tell you what, name me a better one now, maybe only in St. Louis, than what you have at Pac Bell Park right now.
Yeah, but we missed the crab. The ceremonial crab.
And they have Rusty running around the outfield.
All right, that's it from here. We'll be back afterwards or enduring if developments warrant. Battle of local lefties. Metropolitan New Yorker Al Leiter versus native San Franciscan Sean Estes. Tom Brenneman, Bob Brenly, Josh Lewin standing by for Game 2 of the NL Division Series. After this break, please let us take you out to the ballgame.
beautiful late afternoon, early evening in downtown San Francisco, and 41,000 plus jam-packed into Pac-Bell Park for Game 2 of this National League Division Series as the Giants try to take a 2-0 lead over the New York Mets. And a pleasant good evening to you. Alongside Bob Brenly, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to playoff baseball here on Fox. Clearly, Bobby, it goes without saying, this is a game the Mets have to win. So what do they have to do to accomplish just that?
Well, they need a big game out of Al Leiter, who, make no mistake about it, is their best big game pitcher. His postseason numbers may not indicate that, but just think back to last year, the one-game playoff in hostile Cincinnati when the Mets had to win to advance to the postseason. Al Leiter was the guy that went out to a complete game shutout. Offensively, the Mets' middle of the lineup has to show a little more patience against Sean Estes. This is a guy that will pitch himself into trouble if you allow him to.
As far as the Giants are concerned, Dusty Baker has made a number of changes to his lineup from Game 1. Jeff Kent plays at first base. Ramon Martinez takes over for Kent at second base, and Calvin Murray, the rookie, spells Marvin Bernard in center. We asked Dusty Baker why the changes.
Because, you know, Leiter's extremely tough on left-handers, and I think left-handers only have like 14 hits off of him the whole year, hitting a combined 118 off him on the league, and just try to give ourselves the best chance, and also at the same time I want to do what I've been doing all year.
Well, they've been doing it all year, and this lineup gives Dusty a little more flexibility to play hit and run. Of course, you need to get runners on base against Al Leiter to make that happen.
Well, Barry Bonds and the Giants got untracked in Game 1. Bonds with a couple of huge hits. Can Mike Piazza and the Mets answer in Game 2? Barry Bonds and the Giants, winners of the National League's Western Division, take the field, leading this series 1-0. Getting a terrific effort from Livan Hernandez on the mound, and timely hitting, especially from their right fielder, Ellis Burks. Let's take a look at the Autotrader.com starting lineup for Bobby Valentine's New York Mets. Timoniel Perez gets a start. He leads off in right field. Edgardo Alfonso is at second base, and Mike Piazza, a terrific regular season against Giants pitching behind the plate. Todd Zeile at first, Robin Ventura at third. Benny Agbayani moved from leadoff into left. Jay Payton in center, Mike Bordick the shortstop, and Al Leiter on the mound. Starting it for the Giants, a 15-game winner, left-hander Sean Estes.
You see the numbers in 30 starts during the regular season for Sean Estes. A high walk total, 108 walks in 190 and a third innings pitched. Features a fastball, a big overhand curve, and a straight changeup. You see the opponent's batting average. He has really stifled the left-handers this year. His second career postseason start. Very much a ground ball pitcher, averaging over 2 ground balls for every fly ball. And the team has scored a lot of runs when Sean Estes has been on the mound this year.
In fact, more than any other starting pitcher in the major leagues this season at 6 runs per game. Let's meet the Giants defensively. The best defensive team this season in the National League. Barry Bonds in left, Calvin Murray in center, Ellis Burks in right. Miller, Aurelia, Ramon Martinez at second. Kent makes his 11th start at first. And a battery of Sean Estes and Bobby Estalella.
In those 11 starts with Jeff Kent at first base, the Giants have gone 7-4. Dusty Baker told us before the ball game. Jeff Kent obviously has very good hands, and he's made that adjustment over to first base seamlessly. How many other teams in baseball do you see where your number 4 hitter, MVP candidate, changes position in the second game of a postseason? But that's exactly what the Giants are doing with Jeff Kent tonight.
We remind you, as always, this broadcast is also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. So we're set to go. Timoniel Perez leads off, and the youngster takes a strike, and we are underway. Perez spent 5 years playing in Japan, both in their minor leagues and the major leagues. Found out that he was heading back to the minors, asked for his release, and the Mets signed him on the 15th of March, and he has had a phenomenal climb through their system.
Tries a little bit of a running slug bunt right there, kind of stepped up into the batter's box, tried to slap that ball by the charging Bill Miller at third base, but fouled it harmlessly off to the left side.
Perez appeared in 24 games, a breaking ball and a knee buckler from Estes, and he strikes out Perez to begin the game. If Estes has that pitch early on, it could be a long night for New York.
Well, it's such a big breaking ball that many times it's hard to keep it in the strike zone. I mean, very rarely will you see a major league hitter knee buckle the way Perez just did. But that is how good the curveball from Sean Estes can be when he's throwing it for strikes. That's embarrassing.
Edgardo Alfonzo. First pitch swinging, a high hopper down to Miller at third. They believe he's a Gold Glove winner there in the National League this season, and he throws out Alfonzo quickly 2 away. And very little patience there by Alfonzo, something you talked about from the outset.
Well, it's a very fine-edged sword. You don't want to take away a hitter's natural aggressiveness. And if the ball's around the strike zone, I'm sure Bobby Valentine wants his hitters to go up to the plate and be aggressive. But as we mentioned, Estes is a guy that if you allow him to throw a lot of pitches, will many times pitch himself into trouble.
Now Mike Piazza trying to get the same stroke he has during the regular season and bringing it into the postseason. He was hitless in the first game yesterday, and he looks at ball 1 low and away. Piazza during the regular season a .324 hitter, 38 home runs, 113 knocked in. And again, Estes misses low and outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Good patience here by the Mets slugger.
Yeah, it looked like Piazza made up his mind he was going to go to the plate this at bat and not even think about swinging unless Sean Estes threw him a strike, and so far Estes has yet to do that.
And he walks on 4 straight. So the first base runner of the afternoon is Mike Piazza, and the inning continues for first baseman Todd Zeile.
First baseman number 9, Todd Zeile.
Zeile at .268 his first season in New York, 22 home runs, 79 runs batted in. Zeile, a 35-year-old veteran from Van Nuys, California, playing for his 8th different team over the last 6 years. Originally came up with the Cardinals, has played for the Cubs, Philadelphia, Baltimore, the Dodgers, Florida, Texas, and the Mets. And there's ball 1. Six straight pitches out of the strike zone, and now Bobby Escalella will come visit Estes in front of the mound.
Now, this is absolutely necessary at this point. Estes is not missing by a lot, and for the most part he's been missing down low, which is much more preferable than mid up high for Dave Righetti, the pitching coach of the Giants. But Bobby Escalella just wanted to change the rhythm here. Back off the rubber, take a deep breath, let's start over again.
Piazza drew a 2-out walk, 2-0 to Zeile. And a fastball strike paints the outside corner, 2-1.
And for the fans who have never seen the Giants' new home here on the Bay, it should be pointed out, very much a pitcher's ballpark if you can get the hitters to hit the ball from gap to gap, from right center to left center. Very little carry out there.
2-2.
Something this Giants staff has done so successfully over the course of this season. Hitting the ball from gap to gap. That ball just gets out there, gets up in the winds, and seems to die in the gloves of the Giants outfielders.
Estes okays a sign. Now the 2-2 to Zeile. And a little roller off the end of the bat to the right side. Martinez feeds. Estes covering the back. And that'll end the inning. 1 man left. Bonds and the Giants back when we return. Here's the Autotrader.com starting lineup for Dusty Baker's Giants. Calvin Murray leads off in center field. Bill Miller at third base. Barry Bonds in left. The former Met Jeff Kent at first base. Ellis Burks. A big 3-run home run leading the Giants to victory in Game 1. Ramon Martinez at second base. The latter third of Rich Aurelia, the shortstop. Bobby Escalella behind the plate. Sean Estes on the mound facing the 34-year-old left-hander from Bayville, New Jersey, Al Leiter.
Leiter with 31 starts during the regular season, 16 victories against 8 defeats. You see the fine 3.20 earned run average, recording 200 strikeouts on the season. Best pitch by far is his cut fastball. When you talk to opposing hitters, they will rave about that pitch. He's gone 5 innings or more in 30 of his 31 starts this season.
Calvin Murray did not play yesterday. He gets a start here tonight. Shows bunt, and it's a strike from Leiter on the inside corner.
Calvin Murray, in limited playing time this year with the Giants, very rarely tries to bunt for a base hit, but with Al Leiter on the mound, who's not considered to be a very good fielder and occasionally will get himself out of position on the mound, looked for Murray to look for the bunt tonight.
Broken bat pop-up. Left side of the infield. Robin Ventura is there, 1 away. And now Leiter will do plenty of that tonight. The defense behind him, knocked by Yanni, Payton, and Perez in the outfield. Robin Ventura has struggled with the glove at third base. Bordick came over from Baltimore at the trade deadline. Alfonso and Zeal on the right side. Leiter and Piazza the battery.
You know, Tom, I'm a little disappointed in that animation we show before our defense every day. That hitter consistently swings at the first pitch and grounds to short every time.
Every single time, and the pitcher always throws a pitch high and away.
You would think that eventually they would bring in a left-handed pinch hitter, try to shake things up a little bit. 18 weeks in a row we've seen that guy ground out to start the game.
Bill Miller, the Giant third baseman, looks at a strike. 268 hitter. Career high 10 home runs, career high 55 runs batted in. Miller 2 hits and 5 at bats, a double scored twice in game 1. Miller shows bunt. It's 0-2. The Mets this season only allowed 73 first inning runs, the fewest of any team in the National League, while the Giants scored 131 opening inning runs, the second most in the National League.
In his 31 starts this year, Leiter himself gave up 11 first inning runs. You may be able to hear from time to time in this ballgame Al Leiter out there really grunting on some of the pitches. The Giants hitters were talking about that. This is a maximum effort guy out there on the mound. He's not afraid to show his emotions. He gets very fired up.
He's just a lot of fun to watch. His teammates very much like watching him. They're lined up, standing along the first base side dugout, try to come in through the back door there. And it goes to 2-2. Point in a day and age where it seems many players almost robotic in their craft. Whatever the position, it's fun to watch a guy like Leiter out on the mound.
It really is. You can tell he's enjoying himself out there.
Fouled away, still 2-2. Leiter originally came up with the New York Yankees at 21 years old back in 1987. Only pitched for the Yanks in 22 games over 3 years. Traded for Jesse Barfield in '89. Battled an injured elbow until getting healthy in '93. Won a pair of World Series rings with the Jays. Won a third with Florida, then came to the Mets in '98. And he strikes out Miller. 2 up, 2 down.
Now we mentioned Al Leiter with that cut fastball being his best pitch. That's a dangerous pitch against this Giants lineup. We talked to Lou Piniella earlier this year about the Giants offense, and he said the one thing about the Giants is all their hitters can handle a fastball from the middle of the plate in. Of course, when that fastball has movement and is coming up there in the mid-90s, that's a whole different story.
Now the first ballot future Hall of Famer Barry Bonds. 306 during the regular year, 49 home runs, 106 knocked in. First pitch swinging, fouls it out of play. Bonds, of course, enters his 5th postseason of his major league career. 3 with the Pirates, 2 now with the Giants. A 200 career batting average in the playoffs until yesterday. 2 for 3. The RBI triple, drew a walk, stole a base, scored a run.
And certainly Barry and his teammates are hoping that that performance yesterday will go a long way towards quieting his past quiet postseasons.
0-1. And he's behind 0-2.
And keep an eye on Barry Bonds. The difference in his swings on pitches out over the plate from the outer third out off of the outside corner, and the difference in the swings he takes from the middle of the plate in. This guy is just lightning quick on pitches on the inside part of the plate. I really feel you do yourself a disservice to even try to come inside on Barry Bonds. It has to be way off the plate for a ball. See what he's done against Leiter in his career.
Home plate umpire Gary Cederstrom getting a new collection of baseballs and one that will suit Al Leiter. And that one apparently will work. He shook it to make sure there wasn't anything moving around in there.
Nothing loose on the inside. Now, pitchers this season have been listening for heartbeats in those baseballs when they get them back for umpires.
Oh, have they ever. 0-2 to Bond. Bounce to the right side. Zeal's got it, and a quiet first inning for the Giants. We go to the second. No score. And turned on here at Pac Bell Park, but the #1 complaint, a lot of players when they play on the West Coast at this starting time, a little after 5 in the afternoon, the ability to see the baseball.
Well, as you can see, the hitter's background out here is still very much in bright sunlight, while all the area around the infield and shallow outfield area is in dark shadows at this point. Really going to depend on the lights to help out the hitters. The prevailing winds here at Pac Bell Park blow across in this direction from the right field corner to the left field corner. Watch Ellis Burks positioning in right field in this ball game. He usually shades over into the gap in left center, and Timo Perez, playing his first game here at Pac Bell Park this season, is really going to struggle out there if he is not familiar with the wind conditions of this ballpark.
And of course, Perez having to play because of the injured ankle in game 1 yesterday, suffered by Derek Bell. Robin Ventura down a strike. Left-handed batting third baseman got hit with a pitch from Sean Estes. Painful way to reach, but he's aboard nonetheless to begin the New York second.
Estes hit 3 batters during the regular season, tries to stand up Robin Ventura with a pitch on the inside part of the plate, and that just did get him.
Talking to Mookie's not going to make it feel better.
Well, they can tape an aspirin on it after the half inning's over. He'll be all right.
That'll do the trick.
Yep.
Now Benny Agbayani, the native of Honolulu, Hawaii, takes lone away ball 1. Agbayani during the regular year a .289 hitter, 15 home runs, 60 batted in, 1 for 3 in the series opener, also drew a walk. Interesting, Agbayani much better numbers this season against right-handers than against the southpaws. 2-0, and Estelle able to smother that, preventing Ventura from taking second base.
Ventura absolutely no threat to run over there at first base. He did steal 3 bags during the regular season in 8 attempts, mostly on broken hit and run plays when the catcher made a poor throw to second base.
2-0 on Agbayani. And it's ball 3 low and in. Estes wild in the opening inning, at least when a batter gave him a chance. He walked Piazza on 4 straight, fell behind Zeal 2-0. Eventually ran the count full and got him on a ground ball to second. Ball 4. A hit batsman and a walk, and the Mets have 2 on with nobody out here in the second. See, Estes against the Mets, it's where numbers can be very deceiving at times. You look at his win-loss record against New York in 2 starts, his ERA very low, but a very high walk count, which tells you the Mets had plenty of chances. They just failed to cash in.
And they have another opportunity right here with runners at first and second, nobody out. Jay Payton at the plate, a guy that you would normally think would be a candidate to put down a sacrifice bunt, but Payton has not put down a sac bunt all season.
The Mets 0 for 6 in game 1 with runners in scoring position. Will they bunt or will he hit? No sign of a bunt. A breaking ball in there, a strike.
That's a good move right there by Bobby Estelle to call for the breaking ball. Estes has had trouble getting the fastball over the plate, really struggling with his release point, so force him to throw something else. That particular pitch was a big breaking ball for a strike.
Jay Payton, the 27-year-old rookie, former #1 pick all the way back in 1994 out of Zanesville, Ohio. Missed parts of 3 seasons, 1 entire year with 3 different surgeries on his right elbow and another on his left shoulder. And he swings and fouls it out of play. It's 0-2.
Well, Jay Payton has had an outstanding rookie season. I did it all for the rookie. Ranked first in hits, first in slugging percentage, second in home runs, second in average, third in RBIs. Payton with very good speed at the plate. Tough man to double up. Estes has induced 40 double play grounders this season. Led the major leagues in that category. We mentioned at the top of the show, averaging over 2 ground balls for every fly ball out he gives up. Estes has had a history of a guy that you could disrupt out there on the mound. You could get inside his head a little bit. Batters step in and out of the batter's box.
On the ground, it could be 2. They'd have to hurry. There's 1, and no throw to first. So the fielder's choice by Payton advances Ventura on to third. Agbayani cut down at second. Runners on the corners and only 1 out. Decision time perhaps for Dusty Baker. You have Mike Bordick coming up. Al Leiter, who only has 3 hits and 58 at-bats next.
You see the attempted takeout at second base there by Benny Agbayani. As long as you can reach that base with any part of your body, you can go out of that baseline and try to distract that middle infielder. That time Agbayani clearly got his hand on the base as the feet were very near Rich Aurelian.
Mike Bordick, an all-star in the American League with Baltimore before coming over on the 28th of July. You see his numbers with New York. Runners on the corners and only 1 out, and Estes will send Payton back to the bag. Payton runs well, but not a good base stealer. 5 stolen bases, was cut down 11 times. The first scoring chance for Bobby Valentine's Mets comes here in inning number 2. And a breaking ball down low. Ball 1 to Mike Bordick. Bordick only a 180 batter with runners in scoring position this season. Pitch. Breaking ball low and outside. Bordick ahead at 2-0.
Mentioned the Mets hitters needed to be a little more patient. So far they've shown that for the most part in this ball game, but these are the situations now when you turn it around and be extremely aggressive. You've got a 2-0 count in your favor. Figure Estes has to come in there with something in the strike zone right now. You just want to give that opposing pitcher an opportunity to pitch himself into trouble. He has done that in this inning by hitting Robin Ventura, the walk to Benny Agbayani. Jay Payton with the fielder's choice erased Agbayani, but with runners at the corner, a 2-0 count. Look for Bordick to let it go if he gets a good pitch.
He set up away. And the breaking ball never took its cut. 3-0.
Shawn Estes having a lot of trouble out there with the mound here. Stumbled badly off on a pitch to Benny Agbayani earlier this inning, and that time was doing a little groundskeeping work out there on the mound as well. It's his home mound.
Rio to Bordick, and it's ball 4, and the Mets have the bases loaded. You're Dusty Baker. You're saying, well, another walk, and the control problems continue for Estes here in the inning. And Dusty's going to come out and have a chat with his young left-hander, but really not all that bad, considering that Al Leiter is coming up. And I mentioned a moment ago, Leiter, a terrible hitter. 3 hits in 58 at-bats this season.
Well, Dusty has shown tremendous patience with his young pitchers and young players on this Giants team this year. However, in the postseason, this is not a time to demonstrate to these young guys that you're going to have a lot of patience. You cannot afford to allow the other team to put big numbers on the board early in a ball game. As you said, it's very fortunate that he has Al Leiter at the plate right now, and then it rolls back around to the top of the order. But if Estes continues to have trouble throwing strikes here in the early part of this at bat to Al Leiter, I look for bullpen activity right away.
Bases loaded for Leiter, and he looks at a fastball strike right down the gut. Leiter has batted 3 times with the bases loaded this season, 0 for 3. He has not knocked in a run the entire year. Puts down a bunt. They come to the plate, get the out there, so they cut down the lead runner. Nice play by Jeff Kent, making his 11th start this season at first base.
Well, a good idea by Al Leiter, who is just a brutal hitter, has no chance of doing any damage swinging the bat, but he puts down a pretty good bunt. Unfortunately for the Mets, it's too hard and it's directly at Jeff Kent. And with the turtle-like Robin Ventura at third base, this is an easy play for Jeff Kent to come home, get the force play. Estalella was just taking a peek around the infield there to see if he had a play anywhere else, but nice job by Jeff Kent to cut down that run at home plate.
Bases loaded, 2 away, and now Timoniel Perez. First pitch swinging, fouls it out of play. Perez appeared in 24 games, had 49 at-bats after coming up to the major leagues. Hit .286 with a home run and 3 knocked in. Oh, 0-1 delivery. And a line drive center field base hit. Agbayani watches as 2 runs will score. Payton crosses and Bordick crosses, and the Mets lead 2-0. What a big hit by the rookie Perez.
It came on that big curveball that he struck out looking at in the first inning to start this ball game. We'll talk about a young player making an adjustment in the course of one at-bat to the next. This is the same pitch that knee buckled him in the first at-bat. He hangs in there and guides it back up the middle of the field for a base hit, driving home a couple of teammates.
The Mets have scored twice here in the second on only 1 base hit. Estes has hit a batter, he's walked 2. And the Mets have their first lead of the series. Now Edgardo Alfonso, and he looks at a strike. Alfonso bounced out to Miller his first time up. A check swing, foul ball. And Estes ahead of Edgardo Alfonso at 0-2. What a big base hit by Perez. Getting the start only due to the injury of Derek Bell in game 1. Just off the outside corner. Of course, Bell injured his ankle on the triple by Barry Bonds.
Bonds hooked the ball down into that right field corner, and as Derek Bell attempted to stop and field that ball, rolled over on that right ankle badly. Tried to stay in the ball game for a couple more pitches, but eventually had to come out of the game for Darrell Hamilton.
Swing and a miss, and that'll end the inning, but the Mets strike first on a 2-run single by Perez.
Series on Fox is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
All-star Jeff Kent, an MVP candidate, will lead things off for the Giants. Not only a terrific player, but a bit of a perfectionist. Josh Lewin, our third man on the broadcast tonight, has more on that.
Well, you're right, Tommy, about Jeff Kent being a perfectionist. And you don't think Dusty Baker looks out for his guys and knows his guys. This is the auxiliary press box here for the playoffs. 500 seats that normally are bleacher seats out here. This green frontage used to hang down here. That was the original plan. But Dusty figured that maybe Jeff Kent playing first base would stare into a sea of green, might miss a ball from shortstop, at the very least would complain about that. He ordered the director of stadium operations to clip right here. And Jeff Kent is certainly the kind of guy that would notice a very small stain on your shirt when no one else has mentioned it at all day. Dusty takes care of his guys.
Absolutely he does. And when you have a degree from Cal Berkeley, you tend to pick up things that most of the rest of us won't.
Check the angles.
Kent a swing and a miss. He's down a strike. What a year for Kent.
It really has been an outstanding year for Jeff Kent. That's a good point that Josh brought up. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, as a fan, your sight lines are looking down at the field, but as a player on the field, many times the background that you have will determine whether or not you can hit a baseball or whether or not you can catch a baseball. There's been a lot of complaints about the rally towels that they've used here at the stadium. Passed out as the fans came into the ballpark, that it distracted the infielders. They had trouble picking up ground balls.
Leiter a 1-2-3 opening inning. The Mets with a 2-0 lead on a 2-out, 2-run bases loaded single by Timonio Perez. Broken bat pop up in a shallow right, and that's the kind of season it's been for Kent. The former Met, 33 home runs and 125 batted in. Saws one off into right for a bloop single.
Well, when it's going good, it's going good. Jeff Kent gets jammed on a pitch out over the plate. That was supposed to be a cut fastball that just stayed out over the plate. Kent breaks his bat and just loops it out of the reach of Edgardo Alfonso. Been that kind of a year for Jeff Kent.
Now Ellis Burks. He hit the 3-run home run off Mike Hampton off the fair pole down the left field line in yesterday's Giant win. One outside.
Kent with that big 3-run home run in the game yesterday, using a little body English. Ball hits off the fair pole in left field, ricochets back down on the field. His son was the first one to meet him, Christopher, at home plate.
He's raring to go again tonight. Burks, a 2-time All-Star, acquired from Colorado, and it's bounced foul. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Now, Kent is a guy that figures to do well against Al Leiter in that cut fastball. I'm sorry, Ellis Burks figures to be a guy to do well against Al Leiter. The home run he hit against Mike Hampton last night was on a cut fastball inside. He's very, very quick on pitches from the middle of the plate in.
1-1 the count. Kent with a leadoff single, the first Giant base runner of the game against Leiter. Kent on the move. Pitch taken down and in. And it squirts out of a glove of Piazza and gives Jeff Kent his first stolen base of the postseason. He had 12 during the regular year.
Well, the left-handed pitcher on the mounds, the Mets use that odd defensive alignment where the first baseman plays in front of the runner. And that time Kent got a very good read on Al Leiter's delivery to home plate. He was going to steal that base easily, even if Mike Piazza was able to get off a throw. A tremendous jump by Kent.
Burks deadly with runners in scoring position this season, a .348 batter. He knocked in 96 runs in just 393 at-bats, nearly becoming the first player in National League history to drive in 100 runs with less than 400 at-bats. Just off the inside corner.
Well, for the Giants and Ellis Burks this season, it truly has been Ellis in Wonderland. In the month of September, in 24 ball games, a .300 average, 4 homers, 16 RBIs. Dusty Baker's been very judicious in his use of Ellis Burks this year, usually playing 2 games of a series, sitting the third.
3-1. And he took a big cut, fouls it out of play. But certainly the most telling stat of all in a game overloaded with statistics. When Burks has been in the Giant lineup this season, they are 73 and 37. Those games where he's rested, they've won 24, they've lost 28.
Well, everybody knows what a great year Bonds and Kent have had, but especially against left-handed pitching, when you can somewhat neutralize Barry Bonds, pitch around Jeff Kent, it's up to Ellis Burks to clean up the mess.
Ground ball fair down the line, and the Giants on the board as Burks knocks in his 4th run.
Ellis Burks doing what he does best, turning on pitches from the middle of the plate in. just past the diving Robin Ventura down into that left field corner, scoring Jeff Kent easily. Talked about Leiter being a guy that wears his emotions on his sleeve. No question, he wasn't particularly happy about that pitch.
4 at-bats in the series for Burks. 4 runs batted in. He represents a tying run for Ramon Martinez, the second baseman. Martinez shows bunt, pitch taken inside. This is something Dusty Baker told us before the game. With this lineup, guys like Martinez and Calvin Murray, he'll do a few things that he otherwise wouldn't do when Ken is playing second, Bernard is playing center, and Snow's over at first.
Well, even if Dusty chooses to take the bunt off in this situation, Ramon Martinez is the kind of hitter that will take a shot, try to hit that ball to the right side to advance Burks to third base.
One and one.
Although it didn't appear like he was trying to do it on that pitch. Pulled that ball foul down the third baseline. But Dusty told us himself that Martinez is a very well-schooled player. You don't have to tell him what to do in a situation. In this situation, screams out for a ball hit to the right side.
A single by Kent. He stole second, scored on a double by Burks, who's a tying run in scoring position. And a fly ball in a straightaway center. Payton's got it for the first out of the inning. So Martinez getting the start, fails to advance Burks on to third. And now the shortstop Rich Aurelia, the pride of Xavier High in Brooklyn, New York.
Grew up a Mets fan. He said it's just absolute chaos in the Aurelia house back home. I got to believe they're rooting for Richie right now.
I think you're right.
I got to believe so.
Aurelia led all National League shortstops in home runs with 20 and runs batted in with 79. Mets lead 2-1 last of the second. Shows bunt, takes inside. We asked Aurelia, does he take some heat from his teammates being from the Empire State?
Everybody always gets on me for you know, all those movies, the gangster movies and stuff. And our guys always say, hey, Richie, forget about it, huh? Forget about it. And they were on me in New York saying everybody was, it's not, hey, Richie, how you doing? It's, yo, Richie, how's it going, man?
Yo, Richie. Well, he's doing pretty good this year. He's another one of those giant hitters, extremely quick from the middle of the plate in. 1 for 7 lifetime against Al Leiter. It doesn't take much of a mistake on that cut fastball on the inner half of the plate. If the ball has good velocity, good movement, you will get in on the hands of the right-hander. If it does not have as much movement or velocity, that's a pitch that these Giants right-handers will handle.
On the ground, down to third. Ventura looks Burks back to second base and throws out Aurelia, 2 away in the inning. Good work by Leiter to Martinez and Aurelia. Now the catcher, Bobby Estalella. .234 hitter during the regular season, 14 home runs, 53 runs batted in. Ball 1.
Estalella 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts against Al Leiter in his career.
Burks at second, 2 gone. The 1-0 swung on and missed. Challenged with a high fastball, and Estalella came up empty.
You mentioned Bobby Estalella hitting .234 on the season. He was hitting .302 as of July 2nd. I think really his first full year as an everyday catcher really took its toll down the stretch on Bobby Estalella. It did not affect his play behind the plate, however. Did a great job with this Giants staff.
Fastball again is high, 2-1. Sean Estes waits in the on-deck circle. Estes gave up 2 runs in the top of the second. The Giants have scored once off Leiter here in the bottom of the inning. 2-1 pitch. Popped up. Should end the inning. Piazza tucks it in the leather, and that's set. The Giants get one. We're back after this word from your local Fox station. The MetLife Blimp Snoopy 2 is teamed up with Fox Sports to provide the aerial views of tonight's ball game and the surrounding Bay Area. The blimp contains 68,000 cubic feet of helium and measures 130 feet in length from nose to tail. And yes, you have skippered the blimp.
Oh, yes, indeed. If I was skippering the blimp right now, I would suggest that they get out of Mike Piazza's airspace. There's a few hitters in the big leagues that endanger flying aircraft. This is one of them.
Piazza has not seen a strike from Estes until now, and he blisters one into left field in front of Bonds. A base hit. Bonds falls down and throws to second from his knees. So Piazza with his first hit of the series after going 0 for 3 yesterday.
I can't think of a hitter that consistently hits harder line drives than Mike Piazza does. Very quick swing for a big man to generate that much power. Very compact swing. Saw Bonds have trouble out there in left field, stumbling and losing his footing. Hey, we're in San Francisco. There's a fog here every morning and every night. The grass has a lot of moisture. We saw Derek Bell lose his footing in right field last night. Barry Bonds in left field here tonight. It's just a fact of the geography of this area of the country.
Todd Zeile ahead in the count, 1-0. He bounced out, ending the first inning, to the second baseman Ramon Martinez. 2-1 Mets lead here in the third. Estes with a fastball on the inside corner, 1-1. Piazza short lead held by Ken over at first. And it's in the air down the right field line, and it's out of play. 1-2 to Zeile. Estes, originally a #1 draft choice of Seattle back in '91, and in one of the all-time great trades, or it may go down as one of the all-time great trades eventually in Giants history. They acquired Estes from Seattle in 1995 for Solomon Torres. Side corner, strike 3 call. Zeile unhappy with the umpiring yesterday, and again very early on here today.
Below the belt fastball appeared to be right over the heart of the plate. I'm not sure exactly where Todd Zeile thought that ball was.
Good pitch. That away, he's looking for the ball away.
Dave Righetti, the pitching coach for the Giants, kind enough to wear a mic tonight. Boy, what a job Dave Righetti has done with this Giants pitching staff.
Ventura lifts a fly ball into right center field. Calvin Murray is there for the second out of the inning, and Piazza stays put at first base.
I mean, this Giants staff improved their earned run collectively by a run and a half from the first half of the season to the second half of the season. Every pitcher on the staff, with the exception of Joe Nathan, who recently had surgery and was ineffective anyway when he was active to pitch, and also John Johnstone, but every other pitcher on this Giants staff got better in the second half of the season under the guidance of Dave Righetti.
Agbayani laces one into right center field. It falls in front of Burks. Piazza advancing on to second. Second hit of the inning. The Mets have 2 on with 2 out, and Payton coming up.
Nice piece of hitting by Benny Agbayani to go to the opposite field. This ball appeared to be headed for the gap in right center field, but remember, we told you Ellis Burks shades the gap in right center here at the ballpark. The prevailing winds blow across from the right field corner to the left field corner, pushes fly balls over into that gap in right center. So Ellis normally shades over toward that gap a couple extra steps. That ball was hit directly at him.
2 on, 2 out. And now Jay Payton. Strike 1 on the outside edge. This is a game the Mets have to have. They share the best home record in all of baseball with the Giants. Bouncing ball to the shortstop, Aurelia. The force out at second base ends the inning. 2 hits, 2 left. The Mets have stranded 5 in the first 3. Saturday, if necessary, will come to you from Seattle as Frank Thomas and the White Sox try and stay alive against Seattle in Game 4, or the Giants and the Mets. Game 3 from Shea of this National League Division Series. The road to the World Series on Fox continues Saturday, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Giants lead this National League Division Series 1-0. The Mets lead in the bottom of the 3rd inning 2-1. Estes to lead things off in the top of the order, and Calvin Murray and Bill Miller. And Estes, unlike Leiter, can swing that bat. A .206 average, a home run, 10 knocked in, has 4 doubles. His home run a grand slam.
Well, Sean Estes is just a very good athlete. Dusty Baker has used him as a pinch runner several times this year. He'll play hit and run with Sean Estes as a runner on base.
And he's ahead of Leiter, 3-0. Walks on 4 straight to open the Giant 3rd. Well, we told you about the playoffs continuing on Saturday here on Fox. Elsewhere tomorrow, Chicago at Seattle, Game 3. Lou Pinella's Mariners with a 2-0 lead. That'll be on ESPN, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. And then from the Bronx, the A's and the Yankees tied at 1 game apiece. Skip Carey and Joe Morgan to call the action on NBC. Estes at first. Calvin Murray popped up to 3rd, his only time up. And he takes a strike on the inside corner. Chops it foul. He's behind 0-2. What a moment this must be for Calvin Murray. Spent 7 years in the Giants minor league system, a former #1 draft pick out of the University of Texas. And this 2000 season, his first season spent entirely in the major league.
You know, the light bulb really went on for Cal Murray. Last season, he was the Pacific Coast League Player of the Year. Just had an outstanding season down in Fresno playing in AAA ball. The Giants have been waiting a long time for this young man to develop. Tremendous tools, but just wasn't able to make that adjustment from the University of Texas into playing professional baseball on a daily basis until the '99 season at the AAA level. Tremendous speed, stole 42 bases a year ago in AAA.
And there's strike 3 called on the outside corner, and Murray has words for Gary Cederstrom, the home plate umpire.
You can see Dusty Baker saying that pitch was down. We'll let you be the umpire at home. Big breaking ball from Al Leiter on the outside corner. Mike Piazza's, the way he received that ball certainly didn't help any. Kind of pushed the ball down toward the ground before pulling it back up to the bottom of the strike zone. There goes a toothpick.
Of course, Met fans are saying, hold on a minute. Justice is served, at least to a small extent, after the 2-2 pitch from Hampton to Barry Bonds yesterday. Now Bill Miller. And it's on the inside corner of strike. Hampton thought he had Bonds out on strikes. It would have ended the inning. But the count went to 3-2. Bonds tripled down the right field line, knocking in a run. The same play, Derek Bell injured his ankle. A walk to Kent followed, then Burks the 3-run home run. Boy, this game of baseball, funny game. You have the pitcher Sean Estes up. Leiter gets nowhere near the strike zone, walks him on 4 straight, and he has been flat out nasty to Murray and now Miller.
Well, it's very obvious that as they went over this Giants lineup tonight in the advance meeting before the ball game, Al Leiter definitely heard them say that Sean Estes can swing the bat.
Yeah, that must be it.
That's stuck in his mind. Yeah.
Chopped in the hole at short. Bordick goes to second, and Estes beats the throw. And Estes is hurt. And I think they called him out. He went too far beyond the bag when he planted rather than sliding into second base. Estes is out, and he's also hurt.
Well, that is not like Sean Estes to go into a bag standing up, even if there's a remote possibility of the play. Nice job by Bordick to even get to that ball. Makes the off-balance throw back to Alfonso. And right there, the left ankle of Sean Estes rolls over. He comes off the bag in pain, and Alfonso goes over and applies the tag to get the easy second out of the inning. Of course, the bigger concern is the welfare of Sean Estes after that play. I mentioned earlier that Dusty Baker has used him as a pinch runner on numerous occasions this season, but unexplainably goes in standing up, turns over that ankle, and now Kirk Reeder beginning to throw down in the Giants bullpen.
He'll be joined by Miguel Del Toro. Big play in this game on a couple of fronts. The Giants would have had 2 on with only 1 out. Instead, it's Miller at first with 2 away. And they're taking a long look at Estes in that third base side Giants dugout. Now Barry Bonds. Fastball outside, 1-0 to Bonds, who bounced out to Zeal at first his first time up. Swinging a foul tip into the mid of Piazza.
Well, it's a regular fire drill going on in that bullpen right now. Both pitchers, Reeder the left-hander, Del Toro the right-hander, cranking it up as quickly as possible, not knowing the status of Sean Estes, whether he'll be able to take the ball to start the top half of the next inning.
Just off the outside corner on the breaking ball, 2-1 to Barry Bonds. Three balls and a strike. And now Estes being helped down the steps and on his way apparently back into the Giants clubhouse. So it appears as though Estes is finished for the night. High fly ball down the right field line. Perez backpedaling and makes a catch. Battling the winds here in San Francisco. Estes injured going into second. It's a 2-1 Mets lead. Left-hander Kirk Reeder takes over on the mound in relief of Sean Estes, who had to leave the game after turning his ankle on this play at second base.
I just cannot figure out for the life of me why Sean Estes was not sliding into second base. Tried to go in standing up. You could clearly see him roll over on that left ankle in obvious pain. Comes off the bag, is tagged by Edgardo Alfonso.
Reeder will get as much time as he needs to get loose due to the injury of Estes. And boy, how the strategy must change from something you brought up earlier in the game. Estes, a guy who you have to exercise some patience. He will get wild. Walked 3 in the game in 3 innings here tonight. Walked a batter. Meanwhile, look at Reeder. Only 62 walks in 184 innings.
Yeah, Reeder is a guy that does nothing but throw strikes. He's yielded 2 or fewer walks in 153 of 190 career starts. This is a guy that depends on hitters to attack him early in the count, throws the ball over the plate with some good movement. So the Mets, unlike facing Sean Estes, try to be patient, try to draw some walks, work some deep counts. I look for them to turn that around and be extremely aggressive against Kirk Reeder.
Reeder made one start against the Giants, or against the Mets, pardon me, this season, and it was a good start. 7 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs. He has never beaten the New York Mets in his major league career. 0-4 going back to his days with Montreal and now the Giants, with an ERA over 6.
It might be surprising to note for some fans out there, Kirk Reeder with his 81-48 lifetime record, that's the 3rd highest winning percentage for a left-handed pitcher, behind only the Diamondbacks' Randy Johnson and the Yankees' Andy Pettitte. This guy's had an outstanding career.
He'll be facing Bordick, then Leiter, and Perez here in the New York 4th inning. The Mets with a 2-1 lead. Bordick looks at a strike. Bordick walked and scored on a 2-run single by Perez in the New York 2nd. He's coming out of that bullpen throwing darts.
Now, you could wake him up at 3 o'clock in the morning and he'd try to throw the ball over the plate. That's just what Kirk Reeder has to do to be successful. He's not the kind of guy that can put guys on base, be at the base on balls, and be successful. Try to get ahead in the count and then maybe lead you out of the strike zone after he gets ahead, which is what he tried to do right there to Mike Bordick.
Big deep breath from the left-hander, and it's rolled over foul of the 3rd base line. Reeder, 29 years old, born and raised in Centralia, Illinois, makes his home in Nashville, Illinois. Originally came up with Montreal. You don't hear a lot about him, but as Bobby mentioned, he has been an outstanding pitcher since joining the Giants in 1996. The last 4 years he's won 13, 16, 15, and 11. And a weak roller at Martinez. Bordick retired. Let's send it downstairs to Josh Lewin.
All right, Tom, getting an update on Sean Estes. Talked to the security guards right by the entranceway to the Giants clubhouse, and their report is that the ankle is swollen pretty badly all the way around, kind of like a little halo, if you will, around that right ankle. He hit the bag hard, as you saw. Not much emotion shown on his way in. He knows he's obviously done for the night.
Josh, thank you very much. And you can only hope. You never want to see any player injured, regardless of what team it is you're rooting for. And you hope that Estes is able to come back in this postseason. 1-1 on Al Leiter, who tried to bunt his way on with the bases loaded, bunted it right at Jeff Kent, who threw to home, getting the force out there, preceding the 2-run single from the man who waits in the on-deck circle, his first postseason start, Timoniel Perez. Breaking ball, strike 3 called, and Reeder retires the first 2 batters he faces here in the 4th.
Big breaking ball from Kirk Reeder to Al Leiter. Well, Al Leiter knows he can't hit it, so you might as well take it and hope the umpire misses the call.
It's not fair.
Not fair at all.
Perez stepped up there with the bases loaded in the 2nd inning and ripped a single into center field against Estes, knocking in Payton and Bordick to give Leiter a 2-0 lead. The Giants scored on an RBI double from Burks in the bottom of that inning. Strike 1.
And Perez once again walking up toward the pitcher's mound, getting ready to slap the ball by Bill Miller at third base. That time laid off a pitch out of the strike zone. Well, those guys that have good speed, they can do a lot of things to a defense. They can bring that third baseman in, as Perez has done here to Bill Miller.
Hit down the right field line and foul.
That leaves you in such a vulnerable position as an infielder when you have to come in that close to home plate to protect against the bunt. I think that's a great move on the part of the youngster Perez to incorporate that slap bunt into his repertoire.
Crowd wanted the call, 2-2. Bobby Valentine has led the Mets to consecutive playoff appearances for the first time in franchise history. Fouled out of play. Let's go back downstairs to Josh Lewin.
All right, Tom, we've confirmed with San Francisco trainer Stan Conte an ankle sprain right now. They are going to take Sean Estes for x-rays, try and find out exactly what else is going on with that ankle. They're doing that basically right now.
You know, Tom, injuries were something the Giants were able to avoid for the most part this year. Sean Estes missed 12 games with left shoulder tendonitis earlier in the season. Ellis Burks missed 14 games with a strained left quadricep. I mentioned earlier Joe Nathan has had surgery on his right shoulder. John Johnstone has had lower back pain, but that has been the extent of the injuries to the Giants all season.
A 2-strike bunt by Perez, and that's his second hit of the night. How about that? On a 3-2 pitch. Has enough confidence to drop that baby up the third base line.
Now, you will see that from left-handed leadoff hitters against left-handed pitching from time to time. Look how much deeper Bill Miller is in the 2-strike count. Not a particularly good bunt, but he had a lot of room to work with. I mean, Perez squares around fairly early, lets everybody know he's going to try to bunt that ball down the third base side, and the spin on that ball prevents Bill Miller from making the bare hand play.
It keeps the inning alive for Edgardo Alfonso, and he looks at a strike. Alfonso 0 for 2 has bounced to third and struck out. Almost impossible to run against Kirk Reeder.
He uses that slide step in his delivery to home plate. Throughout the regular season, 6 stolen bases attempted against Reeder, only 6, and only 1 was successful.
Foul out of play, and Reeder ahead of Alfonso. You look at Perez, and it's easy to assume that he can really run. He had 13 stolen bases at AAA Norfolk this year after stealing 3 where he started the year in single-A ball at St. Lucie.
Well, he's got a good guy over there helping him. Mookie Wilson, the first base coach, the all-time Mets stolen base leader with 281.
High fly ball, Burks away in right center field, and that will end the inning. A good inning for Reeder. A hit a man left, middle of the 4th, 2-1 New York. Beautiful sunset here in San Francisco this week. Fox NFL Sunday begins with Terry, Howie, JB, and Chris on America's favorite pregame show. Then Stephen Davis and the Redskins take on Brian Mitchell, the longtime Redskin, now a Philadelphia Eagle, or Tiki Barber and the Giants square off against Jamal Anderson and the Falcons. It all starts right here on Fox, starting at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific Sunday. Check your local listing. They're getting fired up here in the Bay Area for the Raiders and the Niners this weekend.
Big week in Bay Area sports.
Boy, is it ever. Jeff Kent, first pitch swinging, pops it up, and it's playable and foul ground for Zeile. 1 pitch, 1 out for Leiter to begin the 4th. The Mets with a 2-1 lead. All the scoring coming in the 2nd inning. A 2-out, 2-run single by Timo Perez, giving Bobby Valentine's lead at 2-0. And then Ellis Burks, an RBI double, driving in Jeff Kent. Fastball high to Ellis Burks, 1-0. Two balls, no strikes. Dangerous territory for Al Leiter when a guy is as hot as Ellis Burks is right now. Not only the 2 games in this series, but that month of September, we showed you his numbers earlier.
Ellis Burks doesn't even check swing anymore. He recognizes that pitch right out of Al Leiter's hand almost immediately and knows whether it's a ball he wants to offer at or not. Even the way he takes the pitches, you can tell he's locked in.
90 over fastball right there. Took a little off. 2-1 to Burks.
Another good hitter's count here for Ellis Burks.
3-1 pitch. Fouled away, full count. And his #1 fan sitting in that Giants third base side dugout, Christopher, he wants to come congratulate Daddy, and you can only do that after a home run. They got to hold him back.
Well, you can't tell your players without a uniform, you know, tell the numbers. Same thing with the kids over there on that Giants bench.
3-2. Smoke foul.
Boy, lightning quick from the middle of the plate in. Now those kids in the Giants dugout over there, I think Dusty Baker initially had some concerns. You know, obviously, it could be a potentially dangerous situation with the players' kids over there. Not always paying attention to the action on the field, but he saw what it did to his players and what it meant to his players and how they performed with the kids around and allowed it to continue.
Strike 3 on Burks. Pitch it came in on his hands, and that's where you want to get it, rather than where he missed earlier inside, and Hampton missed inside yesterday.
Now, you've got to get it inside off of the plate. That pitch is clearly between his feet and the inside corner of the plate and moving down and in. Burks swings right over the top. Clearly fooled by that pitch.
The third strikeout tonight by Al Leiter. He's walked 1, allowed 1 run on 3 hits. And now it's Ramon Martinez. He fly to center his first time up. Inside for ball 1.
You know, Al Leiter will not only work over the plate, he'll go off the corner outside with that big breaking ball on occasion, but especially with that cut fastball, he'll work the area between the inside corner of the plate and the batter's feet. Start that cut fastball occasionally over the middle of the plate and run it in on the inside corner. Occasionally he'll start it on the inside corner and run it way off of the plate inside.
2-0 on Martinez. 2 balls and a strike. Boy, you gotta love watching Al Leiter. I mean, he is something to watch out there on the mound. Facial expressions, body language. He is into his craft, no bones about it. 2-2. You like him even more because he enjoys talking about being sort of weird out there.
Hey, it's all part of what makes Al Leiter Al Leiter. He can't help it. It's just the way he is. No sense putting a governor on it. Just turn it loose.
And he strikes out Martinez to end the inning. 4 in a row set down by Leiter. We move to the 5th. 2-1. New York. Piazza to lead off the New York 5th. This spectacular Pacific Ballpark in downtown San Francisco, McCovey Cove, with the boats roaming around out there. They have the Portuguese water dogs ready to splash in if one splashes down. What a ballpark.
That really is quite a sight. I've said it before, Tom, a lot of great ballparks in Major League Baseball right now, but I don't know if another ballpark showcases the city as well as Pac Bell Park has done for the city of San Francisco.
Fog beginning to roll in, blocking our view of the city of Oakland out across the bay. There you get a look. The fog beginning to cloud things up a bit. 1-1 to Piazza. Hard hit, one-hopper. Nice backhand picked up by Miller. Piazza retired for the first time today after drawing a walk and collecting a single back in the 3rd.
Bill Miller holding his ground, making a nice backhanded play here. Just reaches across his body, fields it on a short hop, and throws across in time to get Piazza. And in case you're wondering, yes, indeed, that is the same ball club that he used in the ball game yesterday. Rocket line drive hit very nearly through the webbing of the glove. Ball got halfway through. One lace was ripped on that play. He sent it back into the clubhouse to longtime equipment man Mike Murphy. He restitched it. There you can see the new horsehide right there. And he's got his XXX game glove ready for play tonight. Ball players are real particular about their equipment, especially their gloves, more so than anything else.
Todd Zeile is 0 for 2. Blown away. 2 balls and a strike. If you're just joining us, Shawn Estes had to leave the game when he turned his ankle on a play at second base, running from first to second, and Dusty Baker had to bring on Kirk Reeder. On the ground again, down to Miller. There's that glove. And the throw is in time. Let's send it back to Los Angeles. Keith Olbermann in our Fox Network Center.
Tom, it was inconceivable when Mark McGwire got hurt that it might help the Cardinals, but help it did. Atlanta leading the Cards 2-0 in the first in Game 2 of that division series today. Will Clark, 3-run homer. Cards burst to a 10-4 lead or victory, and they now lead the series 2-0. We'll be on at 4 Eastern Saturday with either Game 3 of this Giants-Mets series or the M's and White Sox if it's still going. Back to you.
Keith, thank you very much. And of course, Will Clark, the longtime Giant, as Robin Ventura looks at ball one. And the man I'm sitting with in the broadcast booth, Bob Brenly, is the man who gave Will Clark his nickname, Will the Thrill.
Well, we've told the story many times before, but I think it bears repeating because a lot of people were under the misconception that he named himself the Thrill. He was in spring training with the Giants, his very first year in Major League spring training, and he was such an enthusiastic young guy, always glad to be at the ballpark, always chirping, that southern accent. He came strolling into the clubhouse one day, and Mike Krukow and some of the other veterans on the team were saying, well, what's your deal? What are you so happy about? And he said, I'm just thrilled to be here. They said, all right, that's your new nickname then. You are forever known as the Thrill from this point on. And he has lived up to that nickname.
2-out walk issued to Robin Ventura. And now it's Benny Agbayani. First walk issued by Reeder. He allowed a bunt single to Perez in the 4th inning. Agbayani has walked and singled into right center field. Ball one away. Reeder behind now, 2-0. The Mets left 1 on in the first, 2 on in the second, 2 more in the third. And 1 man in the 4th inning. They have stranded 6 base runners in the first 4 innings of this game. 3-0.
And when you see Kirk Reeder fall behind a hitter 3-0, you can be pretty sure it's because he is more afraid of the guy at the plate than he is the guy in the on-deck circle. If he's going to make a mistake, he's going to make a mistake in his favor, force Benny Agbayani to chase a bad pitch or take the base on balls. We mentioned Reeder's control has just been outstanding throughout his career. This season, no exception.
3-1 to Agbayani. And a ground ball to right side. He chased a pitch away, and Martinez throws him out. 1 man left. Middle of the 5th. Mets 2, the Giants 1.
Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Nissan, driven by CDW, computing solutions built for business, by Yahoo Sports, fresh sports news 24 hours a day, and by Visa. It's everywhere you want to be.
Picturesque sunset here in Northern California. For the 3rd straight day, teams from the Big Apple going toe-to-toe with those from the Bay Area. Oakland and the Yankees, 2 straight nights in Oakland, splitting the first 2 games of that American League Division Series. And here in the National League, the Giants 5-1 winners yesterday, but Al Leiter with a 2-1 lead as we open the bottom of the 5th. Fly ball by Aurelia into short left field, and he's got it. And again, Leiter getting in on the hands of a Giant right-handed batter. We talked to Jeff Kent about facing Al Leiter.
He's going to be aggressive with his pitches. He's going to grunt out there like a tennis player. He's going to come at you hard. Maybe soft you outside with his breaking ball or a changeup every now and then just to keep you honest. But he's going to bust you in, so you have to be prepared. to drive the ball, pull the ball if you're a right-handed hitter.
We'll hear that grunting from Al Leiter. Listen to this.
The tennis match is broken out. I mentioned it before, a maximum effort guy. Oh, and that pitch is just, what makes Al Leiter so good with that cutter is his consistency with it. Very rarely does he leave it over the plate where a hitter can do damage. So many times a pitcher that throws that cut fastball, it'll be a 50-50 proposition. Sometimes it'll take the cut and move in on the hands of the righty. Sometimes it'll stay over the heart of the plate. Leiter's almost always bears in on the hand.
He is getting better as this game moves along. He's only made one mistake through the 4+ innings of this game, and that was a double to drive in a run off the bat of Ellis Burks. High fly ball down the left field line, and that ball bending foul. It would not have been enough to clear the fence had it stayed fair.
And you heard Jeff Kent say, as a right-handed hitter, you have to be prepared to pull the ball against Al Leiter, really get the bat head out in front of home plate. And invariably what happens then is what just happened to Bobby Estalella. You maybe hit the ball hard, but it's hard to keep the ball fair because it's so far inside.
The other two giant hits, for all intents and purposes, have been infield hits. A little bloop by Kent that barely made it to the outfield grass, and the infield single by Miller in the third. 3-2 now on Bobby Estalella, who fouled out to Piazza, ending the Giants' second inning. Payoff pitch. Fouled away. There's another thing you'll do a lot of, getting in on those hands. You'll hammer those balls off your ankles, your feet, your shins.
You see, Leiter's been very economical with his pitches in this ball game. Averaged right around 17 pitches per inning during the regular season, so he is well under that mark in the ball game tonight.
Again the 3-2. And again it gets in on the hands of Estalella, and all he can do is pop it up. Ventura for the second out. Boy, when this guy has that cut fastball going, he is some kind of nasty.
Also, he gets the eye out there on the mound. You know, he knows he's got good stuff tonight. He knows he's on top of his pitches. He knows he can get in on the hands of the Giants right-handers almost at will. And he gets that look out there on the mound. I know I can get you whenever I want.
Well, his big chink in the armor, so to speak, is a pitcher. He missed on 4 in a row to Estes, and now he's ball 1 on Kirk Reeder. Make that 2-0.
Go figure.
Three balls and no strikes, and Leiter talking to himself out there on the mound.
Yeah, it might just be a different mental approach. You're facing a guy with a bat in his hands that you know can do damage. So you tell yourself, I'm going to make a good pitch. It's a positive thing. When the pitcher comes up there, he's perhaps telling himself, I don't want to walk this guy, which is a negative thing.
And there is ball 4 on Kirk Reeder. Well, now Leiter going to try and regroup. We asked him what he's thinking about when he's out there on the mound.
Like I said to Greg Maddux, that he's helped me with that, helped me. You know, we had to talk, and I read about the importance of executing a quality pitch, and that's the only control we have. When that little ball leaves your hand, you can make a good pitch. If the guy hits a swinging bunt or jam shot or whatever, or it's bad play. But during that period of time, that's my control.
He's lost that control against the pitcher here tonight. He walked Estes back in the third inning and walks Reeder with 2 away here in the bottom of the 5th. Calvin Murray has popped to third and struck out. And now Leiter in front 0-2. We said the exact same thing back in the third.
That really has no effect on the hitter other than after the fact. I mean, that ball is well on its way to home plate, maybe into the hitting area by the time he lets that grunt go. And once again, another hard hit ball, but pulled foul down the third base line. So frustrating as a hitter when you do finally get the head of the bat on the ball and feel like you've made solid contact. The ball is well fouled down the third base line.
Piazza hanging a sign. Leiter ahead of Calvin Murray in 0-2. The Mets with a 2-1 lead here in the last of the 5th inning. Fastball misses high and away. That's a call that Leiter got for strike 3 against Calvin Murray in the 3rd inning, but not this time.
Very close pitch after just getting hammered in on the hands. It's certainly understandable that Calvin Murray would lay off that pitch that appeared to break around the outside corner, just off of that corner.
Tried it again. And this time it's too low.
And the first one definitely missed away. This one caught a little bit more of the plate, but was down. Well, that's a very good pitch for Al Leiter, as I said, after jamming those right-handed hitters consistently, to be able to drop that off-speed pitch on the outside corner.
Murray hanging around. Reeder gets started on the 3-2 pitch with 2 away, so he'll make the U-turn and come back to first base, and we'll do it again. 2 runs, 4 hits for New York. 1 run, only 3 hits for the Giants. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning in San Francisco. Pretty good at bat right here by Calvin Murray. Not making good contact, but he is making contact.
I mean, there's only one place you can hit that pitch, and that's over in the third base dugout. It's too close to take. It looks like it's going to be a strike as it comes up to the plate at the last instant. It bears in on the hands. The only place you can hit that ball is into foul territory.
This will be the 9th pitch in this at bat. Swing and a miss, and Leiter takes care of business in the 5th. That's his 5th strikeout. We go to the 6th. 2-1 Leiter in the Mets. Second inning with 2 away and the bases loaded. Timoniel Perez, a 2-run single into center field, scoring Jay Payton, and Mike Bordick giving the Mets a 2-0 lead. Last of the 2nd, a single by Kenny, stole second and scored on a double down the line by Ellis Burks, shaving the lead in half. But then the Giants threatening in the 3rd inning, and this to their pitcher Sean Estes. He had to leave the game with a badly turned left ankle.
Well, they tried to treat him in that Giants dugout to see if he would be able to strap up that left angle or perhaps take the ball and go back out to start the next inning, but he was just unable to do that. He's been taken for precautionary x-rays, and Kirk Reeder has taken over on the mound for the Giants. In Reeder's stint on the mound, he's given up only the 1 base hit to Perez, the 2-strike bunt down the third baseline with 2 outs in the 4th inning.
Latter third, and Bobby Valentine's batting order. Jay Payton, Mike Bordick, and then now Leiter. Ball 1 to Payton, who twice has bounced into a fielder's choice and has scored a run. The Giants won the opener behind Livan Hernandez, Felix Rodriguez, and Rob Nen, holding the Mets down to just 1 run. And they lead this series 1-0. As it moves back to New York for Game 3 the day after tomorrow, a game the Mets have to win. It's interesting to note the Mets have won 4 series and dropped only 2 series after falling in Game 1 during their postseason. Popped up to the second baseman Martinez, and he's got it. New York lost Game 1 of the 1969 World Series at Baltimore before winning the next 4. They lost Game 1 in the 1973 National League Championship Series, went on to beat Cincinnati in 5. They also lost both Game 1 of the '86 NLCS at Thriller against the Houston Astros. And then, of course, that same season fell behind Boston 1 game none in the World Series. Bordick shoots one into right field. It'll fall in front of Burks, a base hit.
Now, we've seen Kirk Reeder since he entered this ball game consistently paint that outside corner. Veteran hitter Mike Bordick reaches out there, takes that pitch away, and just shoots it into right field for a base hit. Boy, Bobby Valentine has to love it when that number 8 hitter gets on base ahead of Al Leiter. We mentioned his problems at the plate this year. 0 for 2 in the ball game tonight, but he has put down 9 sacrifice bunts on the season.
And you know that's what he's up there to do right now, with Bordick at first and 1 away. Reeder misses outside. 1-0 to Leiter.
I mentioned the fact that Jeff Kent getting the nod at first base tonight. It's a slight disadvantage to the Giants defensively in this particular situation.
Estrella is going to second. They get one. The throw is in time. The double play. It looked like Leiter beat the throw to first, but Ed Montague calls him out, and a double play ends the inning. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Miller, Bonds, and Kent coming up. The Mets lead the Giants 2-1. An aggressive catcher during his all-star days in the National League. You gotta like this from Bobby Estrella.
Look how quickly Estrella pounces on this ball. That gives him an opportunity to get the lead runner at second base. The inability of Mike Bordick to break up the double play give the Giants a possibility of turning 2. Rich Aurelia's strong relay throw on to Ramon Martinez, covering first base in the estimation of Ed Montague, just in time to get the Mets pitcher at first base for the double play.
He looks safe to me.
That whole play was predicated by Bobby Estrella's ability to get out of the chute quickly, pounce on that ball, get the throw quickly to the shortstop. After that, it's Mike Bordick's fault for not breaking up that double play in a more aggressive manner.
Bang, bang play at first. We move on to the bottom of the 6th. And the heart of the order to face Al Leiter. This is a big inning for Leiter and the Mets. Miller, Bonds, Kent, Burks in the hole should we get that far. And it's strike 1 to Miller, who has struck out and had an infield hit back into third. But again, foul. Third base side. 0-2. You get one more look at that play on the back end.
Well, Aurelia has a clear shot to first base to complete that relay throw. Leiter does not run particularly well, but much a bang-bang play over there at first base. The call goes in the favor of the Giants.
Leiter shakes off Piazza a couple of times in the 0-2. Swing and a miss, and Al Leiter has his 6th strikeout of the game.
I talked about after consistently pounding hitters inside. Look at the defensive swing by Bill Miller on a fastball out over the plate. You become so conditioned to try to be quick on the inside corner that when Leiter throws a pitch that looks like a strike on the outside corner, you don't get an aggressive swing at it.
Barry Bonds, 0 for 2, is bounced to first and popped up to right. And he takes Lone away for ball 1. Bonds 2 of 3 in the series opener, a triple, a run batted in, and a walk.
And you see the Mets not using that over-exaggerated shift with Barry Bonds at the plate because Al Leiter is on the mound. That cut fastball moving away from Berry. More than likely, he's going to hit the ball wherever it's pitched. So the Mets play their defense straight up rather than overshift to the right side.
Hardy cut there by Bonds and fouls it out of play. Well, twice tonight, Leiter has gotten Bonds to do what he wants him to do, and that's try and pull that pitch away. And 2 harmless outs to the right side for Bonds here tonight. 2 balls and a strike.
No, I firmly believe that that is the way to work Barry Bonds. You just have to keep the ball away from him. He's so quick inside. Even if you throw a fastball a couple of inches off of the inside corner, if he wants to hit that ball and keep it fair, he can do it.
Well, they came inside, but came in with a breaking ball. And now 3-1 to Bonds. It was a 3-1 pitch that Leiter got Bonds to pop up, ending the 3rd inning.
86 pitches in the ball game for Leiter, working here in the bottom half of the 6th inning.
High pop-up this time to the left side. Agbayani camped underneath, and that's a 2nd out of the inning. Bonds is 0 for 3.
Well, let's take a look at that sequence of pitches from the lefty Al Leiter, the left-handed hitting Barry Bonds. Fastball on the outside corner. He doesn't get the call. Comes back with the best pitch in the sequence there. That fastball Barry took a swing at, fouled off. Misses inside with the breaking ball. Gets him to pop up a fastball once again that looked pretty much right down the middle of the plate. Those are pitches you generally don't get away with against Barry Bonds.
2 down, bases empty. The Mets in front by a run. And here's a guy that can tie it up with one swing of the bat in Jeff Kent. Inside, ball 1. Kent, a broken bat single into right field, stole second, scored on the double by Burks in the 2nd inning. And he fouled out to the first baseman, Zeal, leading off the 4th. One and one.
You can't handle the truth. Well, the truth of the matter is his teammates feel that Jeff Kent should be the most valuable player in the National League based upon those numbers and what he has meant to this ball club from day 1 out of spring training right up to this at bat tonight.
1-1 to Kent. Line into short left field. Agbayani's got it, and that'll end the inning. Leiter mows him down in the 6th. We're back after this word from your local Fox station. Derek Bell watching his teammates, and their 2-1 lead at the end of 6. Of course, Bell had to leave the game in the bottom of the 3rd with a sprained right ankle. X-rays were taken, and they were negative. He is listed as day-to-day, although clearly you can see nowhere close to getting on the field anytime soon. Top of the order for the Mets against Reeder here in the 7th. Perez 2 for 3 in the game. And he's behind Reeder at 0-2. Perez has knocked in the only 2 New York runs tonight. That 2-out, bases loaded, 2-run single to center field off Estes. Talk about a guy who, even in his wildest dreams, could not have pictured himself in this kind of environment this soon, especially playing in Japan this time a year ago, where there were times where he wasn't even good enough to play in the major leagues of Japan. He was sent to the minor leagues. The Mets brought him in March when he heard he was headed back to the minor leagues. On the ground, right side. Kent gobbles it up. He'll feed Reeder. Perez retired for the 2nd time. The MetLife Blimp Snoopy 2 is under the command of captains Marty Chandler and Mitch Johnson, with the help from co-pilot Snoopy, of course. The MetLife Blimps, Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2, travel approximately 200 days a year, visiting towns and cities throughout the United States. They had to get Snoopy to help him out rather than Bob Brumley. That says a lot for the job you did last year. Alfonso down a strike.
Yeah, but what are they going to do when Snoopy starts scratching at the back door of that blimp? You know, needs to take a trip.
Mother Nature does call.
You have to land that blimp. Quiet night for Alfonso, 0 for 3 in the ball game tonight. He's had good success against Reeder in his career. 5 for 14, a couple of RBIs.
Alfonso with the 0 for 3 game tonight, 1 of 7 in the series. Hit off the end of the bat, foul and out of play, and it's 1-2. Piazza waits in the on-deck circle. They're hoping Edgardo Alfonso can get in the zone. Another banner year for the native Venezuelan. Two and 2.
Anytime Mike Piazza is scheduled to hit in an inning, Bobby Valentine would love to see somebody get on base ahead of him. It accomplishes a couple of things. Number one, it puts that pitcher into the stretch position. We talked about Kirk Reeder and his slide step, his quick delivery to home plate, but that's naturally going to take a little velocity off of his pitches. Also, it puts runners on base for a guy that is paid money to drive in runs.
3-2 on Alfonso. And a fly ball pretty well hit into deep right center field. Murray on the run. He's got it at the track.
Now, we mentioned that Murray had a hard time in the minor leagues for a few years, but this is something he has always been able to do. One of the best ball shaggers, even with his limited major league experience. This guy can go get him. A lot of ground to cover here at the new ballpark, and Calvin Murray is certainly capable of doing that.
Now Mike Piazza, 1 for 2. And he looks at strike one on the outside corner. Piazza walked in the first inning. A line drive single into left in the third. Robbed of a hit on a nice play by Bill Miller at third base in the fifth. Don't forget, tomorrow on ESPN, Safeco Field in Seattle, Game 3. The Mariners trying to close out the Sox, and then NBC tomorrow night. Oakland taking on the New York Yankees in the Bronx. What a matchup it'll be in that game. Tim Hudson, the 20-game winner against Del Duque. And there's a base hit into right field by Piazza. It'll roll to the wall. And Piazza cruising into second base with a 2-out stand-up double, his second hit, and the third time he's been on base in the game.
Well, that's just good hitting by a good hitter, a very smart hitter. Reeder consistently working him away, away, away. Piazza finally concedes that he's going to have to hit the ball to the opposite field if he wants to break through against Reeder. Gets it just past the diving Jeff Kent down into that right field corner. Boy, it has been a long, rough season for Mike Piazza behind the plate this season. He has taken a physical beating that you wouldn't wish upon your worst enemy, but Piazza's still giving it everything he's got on that double.
Now Todd Zeile with a runner in scoring position. He's down a strike. Zeile 0 for 3. Only 2 hits in the game in the 2, 3, and 4 spots in the New York batting order, and both of them belong to Mike Piazza. 1 ball and 1 strike. Zeile has bounced to second, struck out, and grounded out to Miller at third. Grounded foul up the third base line, and Reeder jumps ahead of Zeile at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Activity in the San Francisco bullpen should this inning continue. They have the right-hander Doug Henry ready to go.
You know, in a lot of respects, Kirk Reeder is like Tom Glavine in the fact that he is going to work the outside corner of the plate. He may come inside off the plate to show a right-handed hitter that he will come in there, but he's not going to throw inside for strikes.
Came inside and nowhere close to being a strike.
That's a tough thing to do as a hitter, especially a right-handed pull hitter, to just give away that pitch. Look out over the plate, try to hit the ball to the opposite field. That's where he's going to try to get you out.
And he gets him out with a pitch down and away. Calvin Murray camped underneath, and the inning is over. A 2-out double by Piazza. He's stranded there. Leiter hanging on to a 1-run lead.
Series on Fox is brought to you by Toyota. More choices, better selections. Experience Toyota today.
Again, a reminder, Saturday, if necessary, we'll be live from Safeco Field in Seattle. Frank Thomas and the White Sox trying to stay alive against Lou Piniella's Seattle Mariners. Game 4 of their AL Division Series, or the Giants and the Mets in Game 3 from Shea Stadium. The road to the World Series on Fox continues Saturday, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Al Leiter takes the ball, climbs the mound here in the last of the 7th inning, and by and large has silenced what has been a raucous crowd in San Francisco, going back to when this ballpark opened in April. See the pitch count, 90 for Leiter as he begins the 7th. Against Ellis Burks, who knocked in the only Giant run with a double in the 2nd inning. Burks shows bunt, takes high, ball 1. Leiter's retired 10 of the last 11. He has struck out 6, walked 2, allowed 1 run on 3 base hits. Two 2-0 on Ellis Burks. The Mets with 2 runs in the 2nd. The Giants, the RBI double by Burks in the bottom of the inning. And then they were threatening the Giants in the 3rd before Sean Estes rolled over on his left ankle and had to leave the game. Kirk Reeder has been superb since taking over back in the 4th inning. Two 2-0 on Ellis Burks. And another foul ball and yet another broken back.
Al Leiter should be under contract to the bat companies because he keeps them in business over the course of the summer. He regularly breaks 4, 5, 6 bats, maybe more on a given game. We talked about Ellis Burks at length in this ballgame, how quick he is from the middle of the plate in, and Leiter able to get in his hands and break the bat. Quite a resume for Ellis Burks.
And had it not been for the back injuries, the knee injuries, there'd be a lot more all-star games, a lot more home runs, and a lot more Gold Gloves. 2-1 pitch on the way. Low and outside, 3 balls and a strike. Ramon Martinez waits in the on-deck circle, and then it'll be Rich Aurelio. Big pitch again on a hitter's count. 3-1. And he misses inside. The tying run aboard to open the San Francisco 7th. We'll see if Bobby Valentine gets anybody started in that New York bullpen. They have been spectacular in the postseason, going back to Game 2 of last year's National League Championship Series. A bullpen that has a 1.50 ERA in the postseason. Leiter throwing over maybe to find out whether or not Martinez would show if he's up there to bunt or if he's up there to swing away.
That's become a common practice in what is not necessarily an obvious sacrifice situation, just to see if that batter will tip what he's going to do. Leiter does not have a good pickoff move at first base at all. And that time Martinez showing nothing at the plate once again. You see Burks 5 stolen bases in 6 attempts on the regular season.
But more than capable of stealing a base. They just don't ask him to do it much with all the injuries he's had the last 2 seasons. Martinez shows bunt, and it's a strike.
I think one reason that Dusty Baker would be tempted, and it's quite a temptation, to allow Martinez to swing away in this situation. This is when you're most likely to get a pitch to hit from Al Leiter. An obvious bunt situation. He laid a fastball in there on the first pitch for the called strike. That wasn't the nasty cutter that runs in on the hands. That was a 4-seam fastball right down the heart of the plate.
to the mound. Leiter goes to second. They get the out there. Throw to first, not in time. So they cut down the lead runner and trade it out.
A poor bunt by Martinez right back to the mound. This is the one area you want to keep the ball away from. Yeah, Leiter has been known to make some defensive miscues out there on the mound, but that time the ball was bunted hard right back to him with direction from his catcher, Mike Piazza. He throws in plenty of time to get the lead runner at second base, even with the little fadeaway throw. Kind of released the ball to second base and then moonwalked away from it.
Now Rich Aurelio for 2 has bounced to third and popped up to shallow left field. Aurelio with 20 home runs during the regular season. On the inside edge, a called strike. Al Leiter has silenced Dusty Baker's Giants through the first 6 1/3 innings here tonight. He's only allowed 1 run on 3 base hits. Leiter unquestionably pitching the biggest game the Mets have played this season. Already down 1-0 in this best-of-5 division series. Aurelia, a fly ball into shallow center. Payton charging in, and he's got it for the second out. 2 away. Martinez still at first, and let's take a moment to look at our Toyota game summary. Timo Perez, a pair of hits in his first postseason start, has knocked in both New York runs. Leiter has taken care of the rest. And we mentioned earlier, Estes had to leave the game with an ankle injury back in the bottom of the 3rd.
3 most valuable player candidates in this ball game here tonight. A lot of veteran hitters up and down both of these lineups, but the best adjustment in the ball game was made by the youngster Timo Perez after striking out in the first inning on a big curveball from Sean Estes. Came up to the plate in the second inning with a couple men on base, hit the very same curveball for a base hit back into center field to drive home 2 runs.
Now Bobby Escalante. With Martinez at first, 2 away. The Mets leading 2-1 last of the 7th. Russ Davis has moved into the on-deck circle and would bat for Kirk Reeder should we get that far. Fastball misses high to Escalante, 1-0. Double barrel action now in the San Francisco bullpen. Henry is ready to go wearing number 57 and getting loose more than likely should the Giants take the lead. The hard throwing young right-hander Felix Rodriguez. Two 2-0 now on Bobby Escalante. The home field so critically important to both of these ball clubs. They tied for the best home record in the major leagues at 55-26. 2-1 on Escalante. Every road team will tell you if they have to start away from home to begin a series, they'd be very happy with a split.
Well, obviously you try to win both games, but realistically, even throughout the course of the regular season, you will settle for 500 ball on the road over the course of the season.
Martinez leads at first, and another throw over there will send him back to the bag. Bobby Valentine's Mets advanced on to the NLCS last season against Atlanta. They're trying to get back there again. Swing and a miss on a 3-1, and the count is full. Leiter has had better games statistically than we've seen here tonight, but I'm not sure his stuff has been any better than it is so far tonight.
Well, every time he's had to make a big pitch, that last pitch to Bobby Estalella, this is a guy that definitely has home run power. Leiter behind in the count, 3-1. He has to come in with a fastball, and he still throws a quality cutter just off the inside corner to get the swinging strike.
Lined into left field and foul. We've talked about it time and time again, Bobby. You brought it up. You have to feel helpless at times if you're a right-handed hitter, if Leiter is hitting his spots.
And he is definitely hitting his spots in this ball game tonight. That's probably the 20th ball we've seen hit hard down the left field line, but foul. You just have to hope he makes a mistake. And even then, it's not easy to handle it.
Again pulled foul.
Unless you could figure out a way to turn the field around, you know.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so. Bobby Estalella just wants to make sure his teammates are into the ball game, just in case any of them are napping over there. He hits a screaming line drive off of that retaining fence just in front of the Giants dugout.
The runner Martinez gets started again on a 3-2 pitch. Leiter the pause and turns it loose. Popped up third base side. Ventura drifting over near the stands, but it's out of play.
Well, on the positive side, if you're a fan and you've got seats on the third base side of the field when Al Leiter's pitching, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get to take home a souvenir.
Postseason baseball. Pacing around. Hoping for that final out of an inning, hoping for that big base hit to tie the game. And every pitch so very much magnified, quite obviously in the playoffs. Leiter set to uncork his 108th pitch of the night. The 9th pitch in this at bat between Leiter and Bobby Estalella.
It's got to be very tempting for Mike Piazza to call for that slow breaking ball on the outside corner that we've seen Leiter use throughout this ball game. However, that's a pitch with a greater margin for error for Al Leiter. He doesn't always throw that pitch where he wants to. That cut fastball is his bread and butter pitch. I would imagine he's going to stay with it.
Take a peek in at Mike Piazza and what he wants to do. The 10th pitch in this at bat coming up.
I believe that's a cutter inside once again. Leiter shaking off a series of signs right there. Little cat and mouse going on between Bobby Estalella and Al Leiter right now. Mike Piazza was getting cramps back there. Had to stand up and get out of that crouch.
3-2 pitch. High pop-up, left side of the infield. Ventura calling off Mike Burdick, and that is that in the San Francisco 7th. We go to the 8th. New York 2, the Giants 1. Of the Blair Witch Project comes the series premiere of Freaky Links tomorrow, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, after the season premiere of Police Videos. Freaky Links tomorrow, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, here on Fox. Robin Ventura trying to bunt his way aboard, and it rolls foul. Well, for those of you just joining us, it's the top half of the 8th inning. And all the scoring in this game took place in the second. With 2 away and the bases loaded, Timoniel Perez, a 2-run single into center field off Giants starter Sean Estes. Estes had to leave the game in the third after badly injuring his ankle running the bases. Jeff Kent started the second against Leiter with a bloop single, stole second. And the Giants' only run scored on a double by Ellis Burks. The Mets trying to even this series in 1 game apiece before heading back to Shea Stadium for Game 3 on Saturday. Breaking ball from Reeder is outside. And activity for the first time tonight in the New York Mets bullpen. The right-hander, a starter throughout the regular season, Bobby Jones, beginning to get loose. Outside and low, 3-1 now on Ventura.
As you mentioned, Jones, a starter throughout the regular season, did not have an appearance out of the bullpen all year long.
3-2 now on Ventura. Pulled foul. It'll stay 3 balls, 2 strikes. Ventura followed in the inning by Benny Agbayani and then Jay Payton. 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors, 8 men left on base for the Mets. The Giants 1 run, only 3 hits against Al Leiter. No errors, and they've stranded only 4. High fly ball into right field. Burks is there, 1 away. We remind you, as always, this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of Major League Baseball. Now Dusty Baker making his way out of the Giant dugout. He has a right-hander, Doug Henry, who's been up for quite some time, ready in the bullpen. And the left-hander, Alan Embry, has just gotten up to join him. Terrific job by Reeder out of the San Francisco bullpen in emergency duty here tonight. And he'll get a warm round of applause from the crowd in San Francisco. Mets lead 2-1, batting in the 8th inning. For over 13 years, the MetLife Blimps have been providing aerial television coverage of sporting and special events. Tonight, Snoopy 2 brings you the aerial shots of the Mets and Giants. Look to the skies as the MetLife Blimps visit a town near you. Tom Brenneman, Bob Brenly, our entire Fox crew on hand here in San Francisco. And now Dusty Baker goes to his bullpen and summons a right-hander, Doug Henry.
This guy just continues to show up in the postseason every year. In '97 as a member of this Giants pitching staff. In '98 and '99 as a member of the Astros staff in the division series. A 1.23 ERA in division series play.
He gets ahead of Benny Agbayani, 0-1.
See his numbers on the season. You may remember I mentioned earlier that the only significant injuries that the Giants suffered this year were to Joe Nathan and John Johnstone, a couple of pitchers, one a starter, one a reliever. The loss of Johnstone was eased somewhat by the fact the Giants were able to go out on July 30th and acquire Doug Henry, reacquire Doug Henry from the Houston Astros, and he's really taken up a lot of the slack that John Johnstone filled last year.
Agbayani, 1 of 2, has walked, singled, and bounced to second. And a slider is on the outside corner. It's 0-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Jay Payton waits in the on-deck circle. Outstanding work by Reeder.
Yeah, you said it. Just an outstanding job on short notice. Kirk Reeder probably came to the ballpark today anticipating sitting on the bench, eating some sunflower seeds and watching a big league ball game. Ends up throwing 4 1/3 innings, a very solid relief.
Henry tried the slider again. Too low to Agbayani. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Break-even pitch. And it's fouled back out of play. And Agbayani upset with himself there. Henry left the pitch out over the plate. It hung up there a bit, and he just missed it.
That appeared to be one of those anti-sliders. Had slider rotation, but the ball just stayed up over the heart of the plate. A good pitch to hit for Agbayani, just underneath it. Take one more look at that pitch from Doug Henry. That's indeed slider spin. You can see that tight rotation. The pitch was up above the belt. Got away with one right there.
Again, the 2-2. Fastball that time. Full count on Benny Agbayani.
Leiter trying to stay loose over there on that Mets bench. It's turned into a very chilly evening here in San Francisco.
Ball 4 off the outside corner to Agbayani. So Henry walks the first batter he faces.
Boy, Doug Henry definitely wanted this pitch, as did Bobby Estalella behind the plate. Well, everybody wanted it but Benny Agbayani. And home plate umpire Gary Cederstrom chooses to send him on down to first base, and he will now be taken down for a pinch runner. I believe that's Joe McEwing coming into the ball game to pinch run.
Super Joe, they called him in St. Louis, coming up with the Cardinals, and has done a nice job this season for these New York Mets. So he will run for Benny Agbayani. Agbayani able to reach base 3 times in the game here tonight.
McEwing 3 for 4 in stolen base attempts on the season. Does not have blazing speed over there at first base. He's a very good base runner, but at this stage not a great base stealer.
Jay Payton 0 for 3 has scored a run. That one picked out of the dirt by Jeff Kent, playing first base here tonight. We mentioned earlier only the 11th or the 12th time actually this season he's made 11 starts before tonight over at first.
That ball bounced in the dirt over there to Jeff Kent at first base. Now, that may not seem like very much, but that same ball is still in play, and with a veteran pitcher like Doug Henry on the mound, they know what to do when they get a baseball with a scuff on it. Usually a hitter in that particular situation, if you see that ball go into the dirt, either the hitter or one of the coaches or the manager or somebody from the bench will ask the home plate umpire to throw that ball out of play.
One 1-0 to count on Jay Payton. Ground ball off the glove of Henry. They get one. The throw by Riley, and they get 2. The Giants bat in the bottom of the 8th inning, trailing the Mets 2-1. Like something out of a Dean Koontz novel, the fog covers Packville Park from our blimp. But they are rocking on the inside as the Giants come to bat in the bottom of the 8th inning. They trail the Mets 2-1. And Al Leiter still out there for the Mets. Joe McEwing remains in the game, taking over in left field for Benny Agbayani. Quick scouting report on the pinch hitter. Felipe Crespo, the most used pinch hitter this season by Dusty Baker. 15 hits and 51 at-bats, including a home run.
Crespo, a switch hitter, much stronger from the left side of the plate. He'll be asked to go to the plate and face Al Leiter, batting from the right side. 2 for 12 as a right-handed pinch hitter.
Here we go, bottom of the 8th inning. Crespo, then the top of the order, Murray and Miller. And Leiter kicks and fires on the inside corner, a strike. Bobby Valentine in the 7th inning had John Franco, a left-hander, and Bobby Jones, a right-hander, getting loose in his bullpen. They have taken a seat. This is Leiter's to win or lose here tonight. Broken back, caught in foul ground by Ventura, one away.
You know, Tom, they say some guys make it look easy out there on the mound. Well, the hitters may think it looks easy, but watch the faces of Al Leiter. This guy's working hard out there every pitch. He's working hard on the bench, watching the inning. Running out there on the mound. Boy, this is a guy that comes to play when it's his turn to take the ball.
One away in a Giants 8th inning, and here's Calvin Murray. He shows bunt, and did he go? They appeal down to first, and no. Says Ed Montague, it's ball 1 to Murray, who's 0 for 3 in the game. On the ground, pulled foul, 1 ball and 1 strike. Murray really battled Leiter his last time up in the 5th inning. A 10-pitch at bat before Leiter struck him out. Check swing, fouled out of play, and Leiter in front of Murray at 1 and 2. All the scoring took place back in the 2nd inning. Timoniel Perez, a 2-run single with 2 outs and the bases loaded, giving New York a 2-0 lead. And then Burks an RBI double to score Kent, making it 2-1. 2-2 now on Calvin Murray. The Giants have not had a hit since the 3rd inning. And that was an infield hit on that play at second base when Sean Estes was injured. It was ruled an infield single for Miller.
Felix Rodriguez warming up in the Giants bullpen. He has been the main right-handed setup man for Rob Nen all season long for the Giants.
Rodriguez struck out Darrell Hamilton with the bases loaded, ending the 8th inning in game 1. 3-2 now on Calvin Murray. Three balls, 2 strikes. Lined into left center field, a base hit. And the Giants have their first hit since the 3rd, and the tying run aboard here in the bottom of the 8th.
The Giants right-handed hitter is finally able to keep a ball fair to left field. Cutter that just stayed out over the heart of the plate. I'm sure he wanted that pitch in a little bit further, but Cal Murray able to get the head of the bat on the ball, line it into left field. The Giants right-handed hitters have not hit a ball to the right side of second base in this game.
Armando Benitez, a Mets closer, now gets up. Benitez, like Nen, has had a spectacular year. The best closers in Major League Baseball this season play for the 2 teams that are squaring off here tonight. And people can argue all they want. The stats simply don't lie. Nen and Benitez, the 2 best closers in the game this season. Bill Miller, the batter. And he takes a strike on the outside corner.
Once again, the Mets using that very odd defensive alignment when they have a left-handed pitcher on the mound, as they do tonight with Al Leiter. Todd Zeile, the first baseman, positions himself well off the bag, right in front of the runner. A designated signal lets Todd Zeile know when Al Leiter's going to throw the pickoff move over there to first base. When he is not throwing to first, Zeile will occasionally bluff back toward the bag, trying to decoy that runner into going back toward first base as the ball is delivered to home plate.
Another throw over, sending Murray back to the bag.
Leiter up to the 119 pitch mark in this ball game. Only the 5th inning when he really labored, but other than that, he has been in total command of this game.
On the ground, could be 2. Bordick for 1. Throw to first, and that's a double play. Leiter applauds his defense behind him. He's gone through 8 and has a 1-run lead. Top half of the 9th inning at Pac Bell Park in San Francisco. The Mets trying to even this series at 1 game apiece after getting beat by Livan Hernandez yesterday in a series opener. And now to pitch tonight for the Giants, right-hander Felix Rodriguez.
One-time Dodger catcher farmhand, one-time Arizona Diamondbacks closer. Now the main right-handed setup guy for Rob Nen here with the Giants has had an outstanding season for Dusty Baker.
Al Leiter due up 2nd in the inning. They have Benitez warming up in the bullpen as Mike Bordick takes high, ball 1. Bordick has been aboard twice. Has walked, scored, bounced to 2nd and single. That one nowhere close. And Dusty Baker not going to take any chances. If Rodriguez is showing out on the mound that he just doesn't have it tonight, and every pitcher has those kind of nights, he has Rob Nen getting ready in the bullpen. Two and 1.
Rodriguez consistently in the mid to upper 90s with his fastball. Took a lot off. 93 on that called strike right there on the 2-0 count. Very free and easy motion by Felix Rodriguez. The ball just seems to explode out of his hand. He'll be up high if he's too wound up for this game.
Swing and a miss on a 96-mile-per-hour fastball, and it's 2-2. What a huge out Rodriguez got yesterday in the 8th inning, striking out Darrell Hamilton with the bases loaded. Pitch. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. That one at 97.
Well, just look at the free and easy motion by Felix Rodriguez. Very slow, and then the explosion in the arm speed to deliver that ball in the high 90s right on the outside corner to Mike Bordick. That's nearly an unhittable pitch right there.
Al Leiter is going to bat. Here in the top half of the 9th inning, Armando Benitez has taken a seat in that New York bullpen.
Well, Barry Bonds is the leadoff hitter in the bottom half of the 9th inning for the Giants. We perhaps could see Al Leiter go back out to take the mound for the bottom half of the inning, retire Bonds or pitch to Bonds, and then turn the ball over to Armando Benitez to face the rest of this right-handed heavy Giants lineup.
Oh, and 2 to Leiter.
Either that or he thinks Al Leiter's going to get a hit. No, that's not it.
I don't think that's it. Pretty good cut right there on a pitch out over the plate. Leiter behind at 0-2. We mentioned Bobby Valentine has taken the New York Mets to the postseason in consecutive years, the first time that has ever happened in New York Mets franchise history. He's compiled a winning percentage of .565 in his first full seasons as the Mets manager. Yet, like Dusty Baker, neither has a contract for next year. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Valentine managed the Texas Rangers from '85 and through '92. Took over for Dallas Green for the final 31 games of that '96 season, and Leiter gone on strikes. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts for Felix Rodriguez.
Well, the biggest hit in the ball game came back in the 2nd inning. Tilo Perez On a breaking ball from Sean Estes, went right back up the middle of the field to drive home Jay Payton and Mike Bordick. I mentioned it at the time, and I mentioned it later. A tremendous adjustment by a very young hitter. Had his knees buckled on that same pitch to lead off the ball game, came back up and looked for it his second at bat. He got it, and he did not miss it.
Bobby Valentine was asked a question before the game after the lineup card was posted. Why Perez and not Bubba Trammell? He said, hey, look, this kid has played a lot more outfield in his career than has Trammell. We like his speed, and we like the things he's capable of doing in the outfield especially. Anything we get from him at the plate is a bonus, and it is a bonus bonanza so far here tonight. Two and 0 on Perez. Strike as Perez shows bunt. 2 and 1. If you're looking ahead of the Giant ninth inning, as Bob mentioned, the heart of the order, the 3 best hitters in the lineup: Barry Bonds, Jeff Kent, and Ellis Burks. Foul out of play, count even. Baseball. Has thrown the clamps on this high-octane Giants offense tonight. Still 2 and 2.
I mentioned Perez got the nod tonight, as you mentioned, because Bobby Valentine felt he had played more outfield than anybody he had available. Also, in his 2 at-bats in the ball game last night, Bobby said this kid didn't look intimidated. He didn't look scared. He had 2 very good at-bats, even though he went hitless. Hanging in there tough here against a tough right-hander.
Perez trying to keep it alive for Edgardo Alfonso. Leiter in the Mets with a 1-run lead in the 9th inning. This kid's fun to watch. I mean, he's up there hacking. Ain't no fooling around here tonight. Timo getting his chance, and he's had a big ball game.
Well, you come into a series anticipating that certain star quality players are going to be the showcase, but as we've seen from postseasons past, you never know who the hero is going to be.
Melvin Mora, big postseason star last year for the Mets. Lined into left field, and Perez has his 3rd hit of the night. His first postseason start. 3 hits and 5 at-bats, and has knocked in both Mets runs in the game.
Alfonso's had a rough night at the plate for the Mets. 0 for 4. We may see Perez on the move over there at first base. Felix Rodriguez on the mound has surrendered 7 stolen bases in 10 attempts on the season. He does use a slide step to the plate on occasion. Other times he'll use the high leg kick. Should Perez pitch the right pitch to run on, he should be able to steal a bag right here. With a 1-run lead, the Mets may gamble a little bit right now. Had Alfonso been swinging the bat better, I feel they'd go ahead and let him take his at-bat right here.
Alfonso has bounced to third, struck out, flying to right. He did hit the ball very, very hard his last time up in the 7th inning against Reeder. That was a drive that sent Calvin Murray back to the wall in right center field to corral it. Remember, it was the 9th inning last year where Edgardo Alfonso in the division series hit that grand slam off Arizona's Bobby Chenard. The Mets beating Randy Johnson in game 1 of that series and went on to win in 4 games. And Rodriguez paying a lot of attention to Perez at first base.
He's getting a pretty big lead over there at first. First couple of deliveries, or rather the first couple of pickoff attempts, he had a relatively short lead, and they were close plays at first, but he's gotten an extra half a step after seeing Rodriguez's move a couple of times.
Rodriguez very close to balking right there. It didn't appear from here as though he came to a complete stop in the stretch position.
That's what speed on the bases will do. It will change the way the defense has to make plays. It will change the pitches that a catcher calls. It will change the way a pitcher delivers the ball to home plate. Just the threat of the stolen base by Perez.
Edgardo Alfonso, and he smokes one into deep left center field, and Edgardo Alfonso has homered in the 9th inning. We talked about Alfonso in the 9th inning of game 1 last year in Arizona, and he delivers a huge 2-out, 2-run blast in the 9th inning of game 2 to give the Mets a 3-run lead.
You mentioned the ball that he hit hard deep to center field in his last at bat. This time gets a pitch a little over the heart of the plate, down low where he likes it, got full extension, good carry on this ball. You know, Tommy, I think this fog has cut down on a lot of the wind here at the ballpark. That's a pitch that normally would have stayed in the ballpark. Now Leiter, you know he'll have a reaction to it. The Giants outfielders were talking early in the season here at this ballpark that balls hit to left field that are above the wind pillow, if you will. That breeze that blows across from right to left, if they hit it above that pillow, it seems to continue to carry further and further. That ball just seemed to defy gravity as he went out there into left center field.
Alfonso taking a bow indeed. A 2-run blast here in the Mets' 9th inning. And now Leiter with a 3-run cushion rather than the 2-1 lead. Here's Piazza. And he fouls it away. A ball, a strike. Piazza 2 for 3 in the game. Has been on base 3 times. Grounded foul. Alfonso, we mentioned a native Venezuelan. Over the last 2 seasons has hit 52 home runs and knocked in 202. He was an all-star for the first time this year, and there are many more of those to come.
He just quietly went about his business this season, doing what he does so well, getting on base ahead of Mike Piazza and other RBI guys in the lower part of that order, and driving in whatever runs were available when he had an opportunity. 94 RBIs on the season for the Mets second baseman.
2-2 on Piazza. Grounded foul. It's amazing how perceptions can change and then become reality. Bobby Valentine going into this game, changing around his lineup. He had Beniat Bayani leading off against the left-hander, or the right-hander Hernandez, pardon me, in game 1. Jay Payton batting second. He completely moves around the lineup here tonight. Puts in Perez, who has 3 hits, has scored a run, knocked in 2. Alfonso moved to the number 2 hole. And in the 9th, a 2-run home run. Piazza pops it up behind the plate. And Estolea able to battle the wind and make the catch. So now Leiter takes the ball in the bottom of the 9th inning. Thanks to the 2-run home run by Alfonso, it's 4-1 Mets. More great postseason baseball on Fox if necessary. Game 4, the Mariners and the White Sox from Seattle. Or Game 3, the Giants and the Mets from Shea. The road to the World Series on Fox continues Saturday, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Giants come to bat last half of the 9th inning. Trailing Al Leiter and the Mets 4-1. It'll be Bonds, Kent, and Burks to face a New York southpaw who has turned in a big-time performance for his team here tonight.
Well, we said it at the top of the show, Al Leiter is the best big-game pitcher in this Mets rotation, and he certainly has stepped up in the ballgame tonight.
Barry Bonds 0 for 3. And he takes outside ball 1. As you predicted, Leiter to face Bonds. Even with a 3-run lead, Bobby Valentine has his closer Armando Benitez ready in the bullpen. Right-handed batters Kent and Burks to follow Bonds, who rips one into right center field. It'll go to the wall. Bonds on his way to second with a stand-up double to begin the San Francisco night.
Leiter's done a good job of not giving Barry Bonds anything on the inside part of the plate to handle, so Bonds reaches out over the plate and hooks this ball back into the gap in right center field. That was a pitch that normally you'd see a guy hit to the opposite field, but Bonds was looking out over the plate where Leiter had been working him all night long, was able to get the head of the bat on the ball and find the gap.
Dave Wallace, the pitching coach, signals for Benitez in the bullpen. So he'll come on to face Kent, Burks, and Martinez. The Giants batting in the bottom of the 9th, down 3. We'll be back after this.
Al Leiter, an outstanding performance for the Mets in the ball game tonight. Works into the 9th inning, gave up only the 5 base hits, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks, made the big pitches when he had to in this ball game.
Now he'll give way to the hard-throwing right-hander, the closer of the Mets, who saved 41 games this season, Armando Benitez. And he delivers strike 1 to Jeff Kent.
Where the numbers on Benitez are staggering. He's held right-handed batters to a 160 average on the season. Lefties have hit only 134 against the Mets closer.
Kent 1 of 2 in his career against Benitez. The hit was a home run. Check swing, and he went around, and Benitez quickly ahead of Kent at 0-2. Benitez so intimidating out there on the mound. He goes 6'4", 240 pounds.
Question that Armando Benitez is the close horse. His 41 saves are a franchise record, tied for 3rd in the National League, 5th in the major leagues, averaging over 12 and a half strikeouts per 9 innings.
1-2 to Kent, and a ground ball in the hole. Falling down is Bordick. The throw is not in time.
Bordick, another player in this ball game, to stumble around in an effort to make a defensive play. Hard one-hopper hit to his right. He gets to the ball in good shape, but somehow lost his footing before he got to the ball. By the time he gets up and makes the throw across the infield, Kent's in safely with that head-first slide at first base. Bordick's momentum just carried him down to the ground. By the time he recovers, Kent is safe at first.
Here comes Ellis Burks representing the tying run in the bottom of the 9th inning. And he lifts a fly ball in a short right. Perez waiting, and he's got it. A huge out for Armando Benitez. One away in the bottom of the 9th inning. Al Leiter trying to get his first postseason win since pitching for Toronto in the World Series against Philadelphia in 1993.
And with the right-hander Benitez now on the mound, Dusty Baker will go to his bench. He's got 3 left-handed pinch hitters available: Armando Rios, Marvin Bernard, and the man he has selected, J.T. Snow, a .284 hitter on the season. 19 homers, 96 RBIs. He is 0 for 2 lifetime against Armando Benitez with 2 strikeouts.
Snow digs in, representing a tying run. And it's ball 1 away. Bonds dancing around out there at second base. He nearly lost his footing. Had Benitez turned around and looked at him, he'd have picked him off. Come from behind wins this season for Dusty Baker's Giants. Can they rally in the 9th inning tonight?
Now you mentioned with Bonds dancing around off the bag at second base. That time Benitez went to that inside move back to second just to make sure Bonds had no thoughts about attempting to steal third base. And J.T. Snow did the proper thing for a hitter in that situation. He immediately called timeout at the plate.
How big is that home run in the top of the 9th inning by Edgardo Alfonso now? 2-0 on J.T. Snow. Dusty Baker's Giants trying to rally and take a 2-0 lead in this best-of-5 division series. The New York Mets, they have to win this game to even this series at a game apiece. On the inside corner, it's 2-1 to Snow. Only once in division series history has a team fallen behind 2-0 and rallied to win the series. The 1995 Seattle Mariners beating the New York Yankees 3 straight at the Kingdom. High fly ball in a deep right field, going back to the wall. Perez, and it's gone!
Down the heart of the plate. J.T. Snow has played in this ballpark all summer. He knows that balls hit down the right field line don't hook. Look at him pointing into fair territory. The only question was, did he get enough to get it up onto the landing? Yes, indeed he did.
The unbelievable has happened here in San Francisco. A pinch hit 3-run home run by J.T. Snow, and it's a 4-4 game.
different hero every day for this Giants ball club this summer. Today is J.T. Snow's day.
That is his first pinch hit home run in his major league career. Swing and a miss by Aurelia. Now, granted, Snow generally an everyday player. He hasn't had a lot of pinch hit appearances, 22 to be exact. That at bat number 23, and Cash is in to tie it here in the 9th inning. And Al Leiter, extremely disappointed, as you can well imagine, in that New York Mets dugout. 0-2 now on Aurelia.
"38 come from behind victories this season for the San Francisco Giants." It's a trademark of a Dusty Baker managed ball club. They never feel they're out of a game.
The 0-2 to Aurelia. Fastball outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. The inning started with a double to right center field against Leiter off the bat of Barry Bonds. Armando Benitez came in. Kent with an infield single to the hole at short. A play which Mike Bordick fell down. On the ground to Bordick. He'll keep his footing this time and throws out Aurelia for the 2nd out of the inning.
Bobby Estrella, you could see him clearly waiting around there to see if Dusty Baker was going to pinch hit for him. He does have 2 left-handed hitters available, Armando Rios, Marvin Bernard. Dusty took a look around, took a look at his lineup card, pointed to Bobby Estrella and said, "Get up there and do something."
2 down, bottom of the 9th of a 4-4 affair. And a fastball at the knees is a strike. An unbelievable 9th inning here at Pac Bell Park. It's 0-2. Edgardo Alfonso, with 2 outs and 1 on in the top of the 9th inning, hit a 2-run home run to the seats in left center field, giving Al Leiter a 4-1 lead. But the never say die Giants under Dusty Baker get 2 hits and a pinch hit 3-run home run by Snow. That one popped up into shallow left field. Bordick, the shortstop, the call, the catch, and we go to the 10th inning. J.T. Snow, the first pinch hit home run of his major league career. Two runs on a home run off the bat of Edgardo Alfonso in the top of the 9th. But with 2 on and 1 out in the bottom of the 9th, J.T. Snow ties the game with a 3-run home run just fair down the right field line. So on we go to the 10th. Felix Rodriguez on the mound, and he faces Todd Zeile, ball 1 lone away. In extra inning games this season, the Mets were 10-8. The Giants were 7-5. Snow remains in the game to play first base. Kent moves to his regular position at second. One to Zeile. Ground ball, right side. Kent rolls out Zeile. Let's go downstairs to Josh Lewin.
Guys bumped into J.T. Snow in the clubhouse tunnel in the 4th inning when Sean Estes was out, and he had his typical California casualness about him. He said Woody's going to hold him, Woody being Kirk Reeder, and we'll get him. Well, Woody went 4 1/3 innings of shutout ball, and who was it that got it? It was J.T. Snow.
Terrific stuff, Josh Lewin. Thank you very much. Nice to have Josh with us here in the postseason on Fox. And what a game tonight in San Francisco. The best laid plans of Bobby Valentine. You couldn't ask for a better situation. One on. Granted, nobody out. But 3 straight right-handed batters coming up. Or so it appeared until Snow came up as a pinch hitter. And Benitez serves up the game-tying 3-run homer. Ventura down a strike. But these are the kinds of games the New York Mets, with their grit and determination over the last 2 seasons, have still found a way to win.
Well, both these ball clubs have that similar trait, finding ways to win, having a different hero every night. You know, the addition of J.T. Snow into this ball game obviously played an immediate dividend with that 3-run home run, but also the Giants now have their best defensive team on the field.
And that was the best defensive team in the National League this season. Ventura, fly ball down the left field line. Bonds, a long run. He's got it in foul ground.
You talk about home field advantage. Barry Bonds playing here in his home ballpark, coming after this ball, takes a quick peek, ran around the bullpen mound to make that catch just in front of that mound up onto the tarp. That's why he's got a mantle full of Gold Gloves at home. So he actually veered to his left and then back to his right to avoid that bullpen mound down the left field line.
Darryl Hamilton, the former Giant, comes on to pinch hit. Rodriguez delivers. It's fouled out of play. Our game produced by Jeff Gallen, directed by Jim Lynch, and we certainly send our best wishes to Alma Lynch watching tonight, and we certainly hope you're doing well. We're crazy about Alma Lynch, and get well soon. 0-1 the count on Darryl Hamilton. Lined into right center field. It'll fall for a base hit. Murray over to cut it off, but Hamilton making a turn. He's coming to second, and he's there with a 2-out double.
Giants were shading Hamilton to hit the ball to the opposite field. You mentioned that Rodriguez blew him away in the ball game last night with fastballs. This time he gets a pitch up, finds a gap in right center. Calvin Murray closed ground quickly, but Hamilton with too much speed, no chance to get him at second base.
We talked about the Mets. Don't forget, this team won 94 games during the regular season. They've suffered their fair share of tough moments. But here they are with a go-ahead run in scoring position and 2 away in the 10th inning. And now Estelea to visit Rodriguez. And Dave Righetti's going to join in as well. Those are the numbers we mentioned a moment ago. The 2 clubs in extra inning games this season.
Now, this is the first time that the Giants have had a runner at second base with Rodriguez on the mound, and usually when you see the catcher go out to the mound in this situation, it's just to reconfirm what the signs are going to be with that runner out there at second base. You cannot afford a wild pitch pass ball in this situation. Of course, with Hamilton at second base, the Mets now have a runner in scoring position. They're 1 for 6 in these situations in the ball game tonight. Payton, the hitter at the plate, 0 for 2 in these particular situations.
Four game in the 10th. Hamilton leads at second base with 2 away. And the first pitch to Jake Payton. Lined into center field, a base hit. Hamilton being waved around. He will score on a 2-out single by Payton. And just like that, the Mets have recaptured the lead. It's 5-4. How about the New York Mets rookies in this game tonight? Perez, 3 hits, 2 batted in. And now the rookie Payton with a clutch RBI single.
Well, the Giants were playing him to hit the ball in the opposite field, but Payton hits a line drive right back up the middle of the diamond. Calvin Murray had to move to his left to make the play. Now Leiter still looking on. Disconsolate a moment ago, excited right now. Dusty Baker, another guy not afraid to show his emotions. His are not quite as happy as Al Leiter's at this point.
Now Now Mike Bordick, he looks at a strike. Rodriguez struck him out. The first batter he faced when he came on in the ninth. It's been a rough night for the Giant right-hander, Felix Rodriguez.
You don't need a helmet.
Felix! 1-1 to Bordick. Darryl Hamilton, a 2-out pinch hit double to right center, and scores on the 2-out single to center by Payton. One and two.
Well, Rodriguez is basically a one-pitch pitcher, and you're seeing the Mets take advantage of that. He's got an, at times, overpowering fastball, as we mentioned, in the high 90s. No breaking ball really to speak of. He throws a little wrinkle of a slider. Occasionally he'll throw a two-seam fastball, but everything is hard, hard, hard. Mets are going to the plate looking for something hard.
Swing and a miss, and that'll end the inning. But the Mets have taken the lead on a single by Payton. We're back after this word from your local Fox station. Al Leiter, spectacular for 8+ innings tonight, allowed 5 hits. He took the ball into the bottom of the 9th inning, allowed a leadoff double to Barry Bonds, was taken down for Armando Benitez, who allowed an infield single to Jeff Kent. 1 out later, a game-tying pinch hit 3-run home run off the bat of J.T. Snow. But the Mets come right back against Felix Rodriguez and get a 2-out double by Hamilton. He scores on a single by Payton, and the Mets have a 5-4 lead. The Giants bat in the bottom of the 10th. Hamilton remains in the game in left field. And Armando Rios will pinch it for Felix Rodriguez. In there, a strike.
See the career pinch hit numbers for Armando Rios. He was 4 for 23 this season with 1 home run and 7 RBIs off the bench for Dusty Baker.
There's a lot of thunder in this guy's bat. And that one taken outside and high. Not the biggest guy in the world, but very strong.
Good fastball hitter is Armando Rios. He's taken balls out of here to straightaway center field this season. 10 home runs, 50 RBIs in only 233 at-bats.
Swing and a miss. Benitez throwing that fastball right by him, and it's 1-2. Just in case Benitez runs into any trouble. Boy, not a bad safety valve. The guy with the 2nd most saves in Major League history loosens in the bullpen. John Franco. Still 1-2.
And should Franco enter this ballgame, what a contrast in pitching styles. Benitez, a right-handed flamethrower regularly in the high 90s. Franco, a left-handed screwball pitcher. And I don't mean he's a screwball. That's his best pitch.
Oh, he is a screwball. I've known him for a long time. 1-2 on Armando Rios. Just off the outside corner, another fastball at 97 from Benitez. And 2 strikes. The roller coaster ride of emotions that have taken place over the last 2 innings here in San Francisco. Both managers, the players, and better than 41,000 in this ballpark. Field, a base hit. Perez over to cut it off, and Rios will stop, representing the tying run with a leadoff single.
Dusty Baker had initially sent Marvin Bernard up to lead off this bottom half of the 10th inning. He called him back in favor of Armando Rios, and now we use Bernard to pinch hit for Calvin Murray. Bernard, a much more accomplished bunter than Armando Rios. Had he done it the other way around and Bernard reached base, Rios is not a good bunter at all.
Well, here comes Dave Wallace, and we'll see if Bobby Valentine is going to bring on John Franco. And the answer is yes. Franco, second only to Lee Smith on the all-time saves list, comes on in the 10th. Top half of the 9th inning. 1 on, 2 out. Edgardo Alfonso against Felix Rodriguez. His 4th career postseason home run. It gave the Mets a 4-1 lead. JT Snow with 2 on against Armando Benitez. His 1st career postseason home run. But then Peyton with 2 outs and a runner at second put the Mets in front 5-4 in the 10th. The Giants have Armando Rios aboard in the bottom of the 10th with nobody out. And now on the pitch, the native New Yorker, left-hander John Franco.
And on that pickoff attempt at first base, Marvin Bernard's hands started to slide up the barrel of that bat, appearing to be bunting in this situation as you get a look at the numbers on Franco this season.
Bernard bunts, and Franco will play to first. So Bernard gets the job done, and that's why they flip-flopped, as you mentioned a moment ago. Dusty Baker having Rios lead off the inning. So if he reached Bernard, could advance him with a bunt, and that he does.
Well, now it's up to the rest of the Giants order to try to figure out John Franco. Not a lot of secrets with John Franco in his career. He very rarely throws strikes. Hitters overly aggressive against him. He uses that screwball-like changeup, a fastball leading him off the outside corner of the plate. Much like we talked about the Mets attacking Sean Estes and being very patient at the plate, the Giants need to do the same thing against John Franco.
Bill Miller settles in. The tying run at second base, 1 away here in the 10th inning. Outside, ball 1. Franco, a graduate of Lafayette High School in Brooklyn. If that high school sounds familiar, a guy named Koufax came out of there. 1-0, the count on Bill Miller. On the ground is short. The runner coming to third, and Borden throws out Armando Rios. Boy, you have to wonder what in the world Armando Rios is thinking about there. Representing the tying run with Bonds in the on-deck circle, and he breaks for third. A huge mistake.
This is one of the cardinal sins in baseball. As a runner at second, you're taught that on a ball hit to your left, you can safely advance to third base. On a ball hit to your right, you have to hold your ground. Rios with just a terrible base running blunder right here for the Giants. Ball clearly hit to his right. You've got to know where the defender is playing behind you. That ball hit directly at Mike Bordick. Poor, poor choice by Armando Rios.
Now Barry Bonds with a tying run at first base. And Franco misses inside for ball 1. Barry Bonds tonight, 1 of 4, had a double and scored on the home run by Snow an inning ago. Barry Bonds, a 3-time most valuable player, a 9-time All-Star, the player of the decade in the 1990s. And he takes outside and low, 2 balls and no strikes. Bonds has never homered in his career in 33 at-bats against John Franco. He tried to right there.
Well, that tells you how familiar these two guys are with each other. John Franco, a closer, comes in to usually work 3 outs, the last 3 outs of the ball game. Blows a high fastball by Bonds here. 33 career at-bats against John Franco. That tells you these two guys have seen a lot of each other.
Bonds wants timeout. One of only 8 players in the history of the game to win the most valuable player award 3 times. He might get a 4th this season. He has struggled in his career in the postseason. And he bats in the 10th inning. The Giants down to their final out. And it's outside, 3-1. Barry Bonds has only hit 1 home run in the postseason. That was Game 6 of the '92 National League Championship Series against Tom Glavine. Strike 2. Bonds didn't like the call.
Well, he may not have liked it, but it looked like a pretty good pitch from John Franco. He was probably surprised to see a fastball over the plate.
The runner gets started. Miller at first base with 2 away on his 3-2 pitch. Franco to Bonds. And it's fouled out of play. Well, you're talking about 2 guys who have been at the top of their game, each for better than 14 years in the major leagues. For Franco, second all-time on the save list, his 17th season. For Bonds, one of the greatest players to ever put on a uniform in this, his 14th season. Again to 3-2. And it's strike 3 called, and the Mets have won it in a thriller in San Francisco. 5-4 the final in 10 innings, and they go back to New York, having even this series in a game apiece. What a gutsy effort tonight by the Mets.
Well, a gutsy effort by both teams, but especially by the Mets. Barry Bonds unhappy with the 3-1 pitch, a fastball down the middle. He's even less happy with this one. Breaking ball that never really took the break, appeared to stay off of that inside corner, but Gary Cederstrom, the home plate umpire, rings up Bonds to end this incredibly exciting game.
John Franco the save. Armando Benitez gets the win. And the loss goes to Felix Rodriguez. And what a night for the youngsters. The first career postseason for 2 rookies. Timo Perez with 3 hits, knocked in 2, scored a run. And Jay Payton, the game-winning single, driving in Darrell Hamilton in the 10th.
Oh, we said it earlier in the ball game, Tom, just a couple of innings ago. Both of these teams have the ultimate confidence that they can come back from almost any deficit to win a ball game. Tonight, a perfect example. The Giants bouncing back off the mat to tie the ball game. The Mets coming right back to take a lead.
This series tied at 1 game apiece. They'll go to Shea Stadium for Game 3 on Saturday. There's a possibility we could have that game for you right here on Fox, depending on what happens tomorrow in Game 3 between the White Sox and the Seattle Mariners. 50-year-old Bobby Valentine celebrates one of the wildest games in Division Series history. Let's go downstairs to Josh Lewin.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Al Leiter, you mentioned grit. Well, there were a lot of predictions of doom back in New York. Now you guys go home with home field advantage.
Boy, oh boy, I'm not even thinking about that right now, but what a game. And kind of feel for Armando. He's been there all year, and he feels bad about it, but that's the game. And JT hit a good pitch, and just happy right now. Happy we're going back tied.
Last 40 minutes, some highs and some lows there, huh?
It really was. I mean, it doesn't seem like we do it easy, but we won, so hopefully that's a good momentum for Game 3.
Bobby Valentine said before the game, Al, that you had the combination of experience and stuff that he really needed on the mound tonight. Which was it that did it for you tonight, the experience or the stuff?
I think my slider was working well on those righties. It seemed like they didn't really adjust right away. I sensed they started adjusting a little bit. I had to start throwing curveballs. But I'll tell you what, this place with the music and how loud it was, I could see why they won a lot of games here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you.
Josh, thank you very much. Al Leiter, thank you very much. So now Leiter and the Mets go back to Shea Stadium, where they have, along with the Giants, the best home field record in Major League Baseball. Game 3 is Saturday. What a game tonight in San Francisco. For Bob Brenly and our entire crew, I'm Tom Brenneman saying thanks so much for being with us. Keith Olbermann and Steve Lyons are standing by in Los Angeles. They go to Game 3, and this series looks like a dandy.
It's never easy with the Mets, is it? In the studio with Steve Lyons, Keith Olbermann, and that's going to be a long flight to New York for the Giants to ponder several questions, such as in the 9th inning. Still within a run, and then in the Edgardo Alfonzo 2-run job off Felix Rodriguez to make it 4-1. Ball game is over, except JT Snow willing it fair, almost a flip image of Carlton Fisk. But Steve, the question after the 9th that Felix Rodriguez had, why isn't he on a BART train home in the 10th?
I don't know, but he is back out there with 2 outs and nobody on. Darrell Hamilton hammers one to center, hustling all the way. The former Giant in for the double, puts him on second. Jay Payton, another one of those unsung heroes, comes up off of Rodriguez. Still the single up the middle. Hamilton comes around to score. That puts the Mets up 5-4. Go to the bottom of the 10th. John Franco comes on. You see Al Leiter very happy about it, even though he can't get the win. Franco to Barry Bonds. Questionable pitch right there. Give Barry Bonds some credit. Didn't argue all that much. John Franco excited about it. 5-4 is the final. Some huge questions that Dusty Baker's going to have to ask and answer after this game.
And we'll ask it, and maybe you try it. Why isn't Rob Nen not in the 10th inning?
I have no idea. He was warming up earlier in the game, and then when Alfonso hit the big home run, he then sat down. But when you're at home, there is no safe situation. You bring him in a tie game right there. Not sure why Rob Nen is not in the game. Here's a guy who has a chance to win the Cy Young. 28 straight saves for that team. 41, one of the highest in their franchise.
They'll be thinking about that and the Armando Rios play in the 10th inning as well as they travel coast to coast. Our coverage resumes on Saturday. If the Mariners and White Sox have a Game 4, which is a big if, we'll be showing you that at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 Eastern. If not, it will be the Giants and the Mets. And speaking of how long this trip is, the Oakland A's were delayed by 2 hours getting to New York this evening for a variety of reasons, including weather. And the third baseman, Eric Chavez, said, "We're miserable and grumpy. I just want to get to my room."
You say that every day.
Well, consider the company I have here.